couple of spotty showers, maybe a brief rumble of thunder. Again, do not expect much in the way of rain. We'll dip back to 47. Mostly sunny on Friday. It's a little cooler, 63 Friday night, partly cloudy and chilly, 43 degrees, full moon Friday night. Saturday, sunny and 63, Sunday, sunny and 74. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We've got some clouds. It is 64 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got this crash on 170. This traffic reports the service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Southbound 170 is still shut down at Del Mar. You have to get off at the exit and then use the on-ramp to get back on the highway or jam back to Page. North 170 Gawkers are backed up on the 64 ramps leading on to North 170. We had a crash earlier westbound Olive west of Dealman. There's still a jam from 170 all the way through Dealman. Westbound and eastbound's backed up at Warson, so that is an alternate route is a little difficult. Westbound Highway 70, Shreve, headed out through Jennings Station. There's slow stuff past the airport. It bogs down west of the Rock Road through our city. They're still working this injury crash in the center lanes. Eastbound 70 before 141 before our city. It's a solid jam back through 5th Street. Westbound 70 in St. Charles County is stop and go from 79 all the way out through Bryan Road. There's an incident before you get to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, so that's trouble as well. Westbound 64, Boyle headed all the way out to 270, just slow approaching Clarkson at Topgolf, and 364 out to 70. South and North 270 between a point south of Manchester and 64 is busy, and southbound again, Big Bend down through Gravel, even northbound slow there. 44 delays between the bridges. Eastbound 64, 111, midway up the hill to 159 is congested. Next update at 520 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
Hey, what do you know? It's Thursday. We finally have a Redbird Rush Hour this week. The East Coast games wiped us out the last 3 nights. Well, at least the Cardinals won all of those games, and they won again today. So we at least got something fun to get into tonight, Matt Pauley.
Yeah, absolutely. What a really solid series against a Pittsburgh team that's not a bad team.
No, they've been playing well.
And just like the Cardinals got swept in Seattle, but played well in those games, they just didn't. Not against Seattle, not in Seattle, but you know what I'm saying. It isn't like they went into the series playing bad baseball, even though they lost a few games in a row. And man, did those bats come alive, and they found ways. I mean, there were some interesting moments over the last couple days, but they found ways to win. And they got Paul Skeens today. Right out of the gate, J.J. Weatherholt leads off the game with a home run off Skeens, and then Walker does it a couple batters later. And I didn't comment on it because I really like the pitching ninja. I think he's great. I think Rob Friedman's great. But his tweet about Paul Skeens today was about 9 strikeouts in 5 innings. I'm like, bro, you going to leave out the fact that he got rocked for 3 runs in the first and gave up 5 runs in 5 innings? Yeah, come on, man. Let's not just highlight the swings and misses. Let's talk about the whole game, brother. I mean, that is what Pitching Ninja does. I know, and he plays into it, right? Swing, which is why I don't get mad at him, because he plays onto it. He plays into it. But if we are assessing it from a baseball-only perspective, Skeens did not pitch well today. He gave up 5 runs, 4 earned in 5 innings. And look, we just got a message from Luke that says the Cardinals have a voodoo doll of Paul Skeens somewhere. He's really only had one bad start against the Cardinals prior to this one. No, they've all been good mostly, yeah. There was one that he did not pitch well in, and the rest of them he's pitched well. His teammates just haven't picked him up. This is, one other, not so great start. So it's not so much that the Cardinals have beat Skeens. It's that they've beat his teammates. But today, and I guess today they beat him. They beat him. Yeah. So a lot going well in the series. Not everything. I mean, you won because your bats came alive. They won this series because they hit. And again, I don't care how you win series. The fact that you're winning series is what matters. But there's a good mix. There's a mix of really good things that we're going to start with, and then there are some things later in the show we're going to talk about that are concerning, specifically the bullpen. But I think overall, the pitching is going to have to be a heck of a lot better. These last few days, just as an example, I mean, today you allowed 5 runs. It was a non-competitive game late, but it's the same guys that you're having problems with, right? It's Stanek, it's Swanson,
The same guys in the pen are struggling almost every time out. The last couple of games got closer than they should have. And you haven't had a lot of games where that's gone clean. But the bigger thing we'll talk about later is the amount of work that the relievers are carrying, specifically Jojo Romero, and how hard that's going to be to sustain itself as you move forward. But I want to stay on the good side right now, and I want to start about the top of the order. Your first four have been outstanding.
They have.
Not just lately, like all season. If you just look at their season totals, your top four have been good. The few guys that follow that have been sporadically good. But lately, Nathan Church has been really good. Mason Wynn has been really good. And Pajes has actually been really good for about the last, 10 days?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Nolan Gorman hasn't been bad here recently either. When you look at his numbers since April 21st, he's got a 748 OPS over his last 9 games, a 748 OPS for Gorman. So even he is on a little bit of a good run right now.
Yeah, and you look at the top four, lately, they've been hot, they dominated this Pittsburgh series. Those top 4 guys dominated the Pirates. But when you look at J.J. Weatherholt, already at 7 home runs in 31 games, that'll play. And he's now up to 856 on the OPS, which is really high. That's all-star level production, especially for a second baseman. He's playing like one of the top 3 or 4 second basemen in the entire sport. And then Burley's up over 800 now after a good series because he struggled for a little bit.
He was 0 for in Seattle and 0 for 12 against Seattle.
He had a little bit of a struggle there, but he bounced back this week. Ivan Herrera's now up over 800. He's at 840 on the OPS, even though his batting average hasn't come up yet. It will. His numbers are really good. He's drawing walks. He's hitting the ball hard. He's had some bad luck. His number is going to keep going up. And then Jordan Walker, who settled down as we expected, but the last few days he's kind of picked it back up. And this is now, how long will it last? I mean, the whole thing with him is how long the hot stretches and the cold stretches last compared to one another. And if they're even 50-50, he's probably going to finish with a good year. If you look at the last 7 days, not great for him. If you look at the last 2 or 3 days, he's starting to kind of turn it around because he had a really good base knock against the slider. I think it was 2 games ago, or was it yesterday? And then today, of course, the home run against Paul Skeens and another hard line drive into left center field.
And almost hit a home run yesterday.
Yeah.
He had one that was caught right at the wall.
So those top 4 guys are carrying you for the season and lately. And I don't think there's any, shouldn't say this. The top 3, to me, there's zero doubt that they can sustain what they're doing.
I would agree. Yes.
Walker, we're still finding that out. We're a month in. It's good for the month. He's had the down stretch. He seems to be coming back out of it. I guess we'll have to wait and watch for the next handful of games to see if he does fully come back out of it. And then after that, it's been a little streaky. But again, lately, not bad. If you look at the last couple of weeks for Mason Wynn, the last couple of weeks for Nathan Church has 5 home runs. I think in the last, that's all on the season. But I think he's got 2 or 3 just in the last 2 weeks. So yeah, when you're looking at what you're getting lately, it's gotten better. Although Wynn has slowed back down. He had that really hot stretch, and this past week he's really slowed back down. And, look, it's not the end of the world if the bottom of the lineup is going to be streaky.
Yeah.
If you have a top of the lineup that's consistent, and they have been, it's going to keep you competitive.
Yeah, look, Mason Wynn right now, his OPS is 690. So, I mean, that's not far off from 700.
No, that'd be fine. Yeah.
If he finishes with an OPS in that area,
he's fine.
If the numbers are right where they're at right now, 250 hitter, around a 700 OPS, that's a really nice offensive season for Mason Wynn.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be upset about that. And if he gets there through periods of streaks and periods of being cold,
it's fine.
I don't care. I care what the numbers look like at the end of the year.
Yeah. And it's a, Justin Lutz reminds us that Walker leads the team in strikeouts. Yeah, nobody cares how much a guy strikes out if he produces.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that some fans do, but in general, like Aaron Judge strikes out a ton. Nobody cares. Nobody cares because he puts up crazy numbers all across the board. The strikeouts are a problem when you're not producing numbers.
Like Nolan Gorman, historically.
Right. Or Walker, historically, right? I mean, the strikeouts are a problem if you're not producing. Nobody in baseball worries about a guy that strikes out, quote, too much if they are hitting a lot of home runs and producing runs. And again, just, if you look at, I'm not comparing Walker to Judge. I'm just using Judge as the point of comparison because he strikes out a lot. Nobody cares that Aaron Judge struck out 160 times last year.
And why would you?
No, because he walked 124 times. He hit 50 bombs. He hit 330. Like, the strikeouts only matter if the other production's not there, because you're going to make outs one way or the other.
Yeah, I talk about this from a larger perspective sometimes, because there will be moments where the Cardinals lose, they don't score many runs, and they struck out 13 times.
Yeah.
And I'll be doing the post-game show, and I'll be littered with comments about how this team strikes out too much. Well, how many times did they strike out today? I don't know if today's a good example or not. Yeah, so Pittsburgh pitchers today had 12 strikeouts. So the Cardinals struck out 12 times today. Does it matter?
No.
It doesn't matter at all, because the Cardinals scored 10 runs on 14 hits.
Yeah.
Nobody's complaining about the strikeouts today. The strikeouts are only a bad thing when they are stopping you from scoring runs. And right now, this team is not being, for the most part, there's a game here and a game there, but right now, the strikeouts are not debilitating the Cardinals.
No, I mean, look, the Seattle struck out almost as much as anybody in baseball last year. Did it matter?
No.
The Yankees were the third highest strikeout total team in baseball last year, and they scored the most runs.
And let me say, there are moments where you don't want to strike out.
Of course.
Like, this is not a...
Of course.
Hey, there's a runner on at third and less than 2 outs, and you're down 1 run in the 9th inning, and they struck out. Oh, it's okay because Matt Pauley on KMOX says it's okay. No, it's not okay in that situation.
No.
But when you take a step back and you're holding a piece of paper that's got a box score, and you got 12 strikeouts, but you scored 10 runs that day, then the strikeouts do not matter.
Yeah, I mean, again, everything is situational in that regard, but overall sum total for 162 games. If your numbers are good, if your OPS is over 800, if you're hitting 30, 35 home runs, the strikeouts are no big deal. And there are plenty of hitters out there that exemplify that. It's not what it used to be. I understand, but you're going to make outs, okay? One thing that really hasn't changed in baseball is that the average hitter is going to be out 75% of the time. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much historically true for the last 120 years. Yeah, there have been some years where maybe it's 72% instead of 75%. Maybe now it's more like 76 or 77% than 75%. But you're going to be out 3 times as often as you're going to get a hit. Minimum. On average, right? Great players will be more than that. Most of the time, how that out is recorded doesn't matter.
Most of the time.
Sometimes it does, and that's where we need to be critical of a bad strikeout, right? Runner on third, 1 out, close game, late. Okay, that's a bad strikeout. And then there are strikeouts where you're like, okay, nobody's on. What's the difference between that, a fly out, or a ground out?
Right. Or runner on first, 2 outs.
Right, right.
Now, and I think the Cardinals, I'm sure there's some numbers I could look up to back this up. I think the Cardinals are probably just about as good as any team in baseball at having productive outs that help eventually lead to runs. They get runners over. They do those things at a clip that I'm very comfortable with.
Now, in fairness, I mean, because I don't want to totally crap on the idea that Walker's striking out too much, because I think that is a concern. That would be what undermines him getting back to being productive again. If it does, it's the swing and miss. And his strikeout rate is in the bottom 7% in baseball. That's high. Mm-hmm. But if you have a 900 OPS, which he does, it's okay. Yeah. It's fine. And the question, though, is if we're looking at it as a part of production, it does indicate that more slippage is coming if you're striking out that much. It does indicate that is a likely outcome. It's not a guaranteed outcome. He balances that with, elite hard contact. He makes more hard contact right now than anybody in baseball. So as long as that continues, basically, again, what we're doing is substituting pop-ups and ground-outs for strikeouts.
And you're also hopeful that as he has put a focus on his swing decisions.
Yeah.
Because bad swing decisions are what largely lead to strikeouts.
Yes.
Not all strikeouts. Sometimes you swing and miss on a pitch right in the zone. But if he's making better swing decisions, you can also be hopeful that strikeout rate will change too.
He is. And it's part of the reason why you're seeing more sweet spot contact, which was low last year. You're seeing a higher overall contact rate. His chase rate is improved by dramatic numbers. Now, will it stay? That's the question for the next 5 months. All right, more on the offense and a little bit more on the good things. We're going to talk a bit about the bullpen as well. And they're not in the negative sense, but more in the we got to keep an eye on this sense, because these guys are being worked pretty hard. And part of that is that the rotation doesn't go deep. We'll start digging into that a little bit later on here on KMOX.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we're making headway on these crashes. This traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. They do have the left lane open now, south 170 at Delmar. It's a solid jam, though, back north of Page, and north 170 Gawkers are still jammed back to Highway 64. Westbound Highway 70, you got slow traffic, the Riverview Jennings Station area past the airport, a couple of slowdowns all the way through our city. They've only got, looks like, the right center lane block now, eastbound 70 at our city, so it's heavy traffic, not back across the Blanchette Bridge any longer. Westbound is slow. West of 94 out to Cave Springs, jammed from 79 through T.R. Hughes. We had an incident there. 370's jammed, approaching the Mills all the way to the Discovery Bridge. Folks using that as an alternate route. Eastbound 270 backs up east about Fountain to Riverview. Looks like we may have an incident there. Westbound 64, Boyle out to McCausland's heavy. McKnight all the way to 270, approaching Clarkson at Topgolf, and Winghaven out to 70. That's all slow. North and south 270 between 64 and Manchester's busy, but southbound the delays begin at Olive and they go all the way down to Gravois. Westbound 44 still kind of busy. Lindbergh out through 141. Westbound 44 downtown between the bridges is backed up, and eastbound 64 a shorter delay approaching 255 through 157. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
Touch back in on Redbird Rush Hour here on KMOX. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here leading up to Sports Open Line after the 6 o'clock news. Obviously, the Cardinals rolling really well right now with a 4-game sweep in Pittsburgh. Next up is the Dodgers and another challenge. I think the Pirates and the Cardinals are in a similar category.
I would agree.
If you said before the year how far apart will these two teams be at the end of the year, I would have probably said 3 games, one way or the other. They're probably. They both felt like mid to high 70s to low 80s range to me is how they both felt.
Yeah.
So you beat a team up that is similar to you, although they're different, right? I mean, Skeens is somebody you don't have, but I think the Cardinals have a little bit better lineup, especially at the top. The Pirates have some hitters, don't get me wrong, Brandon Lau and O'Neal Cruz, but they're a little more pitchable, I think. Weatherholt and Herrera and Burleson are tougher outs than some of those guys. And you can see a little bit of that in the series. And, of course, this is also just how these 4 games went. Like, it's not a referendum on the full 6 months. But overall, I kind of pictured those two teams being similar at the end of the year. Maybe the Pirates slightly ahead, but in that same range.
Yeah, I think it could go in either direction. I'm not a big believer in the Pirates, just in the sense that I don't believe in them and the organizational decisions that they make. So I think that does, kind of like where Heim said, if you start making good decisions, sometimes good things start happening sooner than you expect them to. I think when you look at the Pirates, you see an organization that's, even with what they did in the offseason, they did a good, they bring in O'Hearn, they bring in Lau, they do some really nice things. I just don't believe in the decision makers in Pittsburgh.
No, and they've not shown any reason to believe in that, although they did finally do at least a little bit this offseason of bringing in some bats with Brandon Lau and Ryan O'Hearn and things like that. But then you're going to, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and really actually for the last, I shouldn't say a couple weeks ago, we've talked about it for a couple of weeks now, that this is just the beginning of this difficult stretch. You had Seattle, which didn't go your way, but you played pretty well in those 3 games. You were competitive in those games. You go out and you sweep Pittsburgh. Good start to this difficult stretch, but it's not going to get easier because it's the Dodgers this weekend, and then it's the Brewers next week, and then it's 4 games in San Diego, and the Padres have been really good, and then it's in Sacramento, and the A's have been okay. They're pretty dangerous, and that's a tough place to play.
It is.
That one worries me a little bit, in part because the Cardinals don't get a lot of swing and miss, because that plays the bandbox, and the ball really carries in Sacramento.
Yeah. It's a minor league ball.
Of course, you could also hit a bunch of home runs on your side. So.
And you're doing that. The power numbers for the Cardinals right now are
way
fine.
Better, yeah.
Yeah. It just shows that we can spend an off season talking about all these things, and then this year we thought they would have no power, and we thought that their bullpen would be awesome.
You're right. Yeah,
and right now their bullpen is not awesome, and they have all kinds of power.
No, and on the power side, the reason for it is largely Walker and Weatherholt.
Yeah,
I mean you're adding a lot of power compared to what you've had in the past from those two positions. Walker being his own position because he didn't do much of anything the last 2 years, and then you look at Weatherholt. I mean, Brendan Donovan career high in home runs is 14, and Weatherholt's at 7 by the end of April.
Yeah,
I mean and I'm only comparing position to position because some of those years Gorman was playing a lot of second base, and you get a little power there, but I mean. The trade-off for those two guys is pretty significant based on what Donovan has been the last couple years.
And if we're going to play
power-wise,
if we're going to play that game, you replace Contreras' power with Alec Burleson, but then you maybe lose something in the outfield. But
with Church taking Burleson's spot in the outfield, which has not been terrible.
Yeah, Church has really. I like what we're seeing from him.
Trending in the right direction.
Trending in the right direction. Playing solid defense out there. If Lars Nootbaar was healthy.
He's robbed. Now, here's the funny thing. He's blown some pretty basic plays, but, man, he's robbed 3 home runs.
Yeah.
And yesterday's saved the game.
Yeah, I don't know if yesterday was robbing a home run.
It was really close,
but it
though.
was I think that ball is out if he doesn't make the catch. But I think of robbing a home run like when you really go up and bring one back. Like, I still think it was
I mean, robbing it is if it would have been a home run and if you didn't touch it. It wasn't one of those more acrobatic ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it was a catch that I'm glad he made, and it was a high-level catch. I'm not trying to denigrate the catch whatsoever.
Sure you are, Matt. That's exactly what you're doing.
That's not what I'm doing. But when I think Rob, I always think about literally bringing one back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mentioned this with DGS, and we don't have a ton of time, but I wanted to bring this up because I do think, not related to Church, but I haven't counted it, but it feels like there have been more robbed home runs this year than I remember ever seeing in a month.
And you've brought this up.
I think it's because the outfielders play so deep.
Yeah, which isn't great.
It's terrible.
The wonderful thing about Jim Edmonds was how shallow he played.
Yeah.
Because when the shallower you play, obviously you close out the amount of room between the infielders and the outfielders, and then you play shallow knowing that you can go get something at the wall, that you can make that play if need be. And I think you're right. And look, that's the way you score runs in baseball right now is with slug and with extra base hits.
Yeah.
So when you play deep, you're taking extra base hits away.
Well, if we think about the common sense explanation here, why are teams playing their outfielders deep? Because it works.
Right.
Because you're limiting damage. So you're robbing home runs, which is not why you're doing it, but it is leading to more robbed home runs because they play so deep.
It's leading to less doubles
but
and less home runs.
But it takes away doubles and triples.
Yeah, and triples.
And the only things you're going to have then are walks, singles, and home runs. And we know how hard it is to string together singles. Like, it's hard to get 3 or 4 hits in an inning with the way pitching is right now. And, home runs are always a low percentage play. They happen regularly, but it's not. They happen, 7% of the time? Mm-hmm. Something like that. If you're hitting a home run 10% of the time, you're basically Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get 600 plate appearances and you home run 10%, you're hitting 60 home runs. So 10% is elite. That's Aaron Judge rate. So most people are not that. Most people are probably more like 5 to 7. So if you're going to take away doubles and triples, I really think that this is something that will be next on the list. Because the infield shift thing didn't change much.
It didn't.
I mean,
a few more balls get through, but nothing.
A few, but they're all singles,
yeah.
And it's only helping hard pull left-handers. It doesn't help right-handers. It doesn't help much of anything other than that. And this has a much bigger impact, the outfield depth. Even the positioning laterally doesn't bother me. It's the depth that bothers me because nothing drops behind them.
I just don't know how you enforce it. I don't want a line literally drawn in the outfield. That's aesthetically unpleasing.
But there have been a lot of things we thought would be weird and then they turned out to be just fine. Like, would you accept that line somewhere out there if it meant that there was more offense and more doubles and triples and more action?
No.
Really?
Maybe.
So the aesthetic matters more than the action.
I'm
not questioning it because I think a lot of fans probably would agree.
No, I don't want that line. I don't want baseball to look that way. I think the way baseball looks matters. I love baseball. I think the look matters. This is technological, but maybe you got a buzzer on you, and if you go past a line,
there are plenty of ways.
The buzzer goes off, and you have to start with.
Or there's just a penalty, like if you Yeah, I don't know how you do it. You'd have to have something that gives you a guide.
Yeah.
Because then it would be like the infield shift. Right there, you have a clear base, and you can't be on the either side of the wrong side of the base. There'd have to be something similar, but I don't know how you do it.
There'd be a way to do it without it. But really, you could just put something on your waist.
Little GPS.
Yeah, and if you're back too close to the wall, it just goes off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if somebody monitors it in the booth, and if the pitch is thrown with you there, then there's some kind of penalty.
You can redo the pitch if it's a ball. Or,
whatever. It's gonna be tough to do, but it's definitely on the list. All right, more on the Cardinals pitching. Some workload issues with the pen, especially with no days off now for another 12, 13 days? 12 days?
17. They've gone 7, so 10 more.
Yeah. So you got 10 more days and no days off. We'll talk a bit about how that can all game out as we go along here on KMOX.
At 5:30, this update is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got some clouds and right now 64 degrees downtown at the Arch. The new Catholic bishop for the Belleville Diocese will officially be installed tomorrow afternoon. KMOX Religion editor Fred Bottomer has a preview.
Bishop-elect Father Godfrey Mullen will be ordained at 1:30 p.m. at the Cathedral of St. Peter in Belleville. He'll become the 10th bishop of the Belleville Diocese, replacing now Archbishop Michael McGovern, who was elevated to lead the Omaha Archdiocese after serving the past 5 years in Belleville. Bishop-elect Mullen was born in Alton, is 60 years old, and is a Benedictine monk. He currently serves as rector of the Cathedral of St. Peter and has been the diocesan administrator since Archbishop McGovern left last year. The soon-to-be new bishop says he'd prefer to be addressed by his first name, so Bishop Godfrey, since so many in the Belleville Diocese, he says, already know him as Father Godfrey. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
The average from AAA for Missouri Gas is $3.83 a gallon. Soaring gas prices are putting a strain on the businesses that cut our lawns.
Sean Michaelitis owns a landscaping company in suburban Detroit.
It costs me an extra $500 a day just to run the machines and all the vehicles.
He says the added cost for fuel means fewer lawns they can maintain.
We're trying to stay closer to the area where we work, where we're based out of. We don't drive as far because it just doesn't make sense. We just can't afford it.
Michaelitis says this is usually their busy season, but that's not the case this year. Luke Sloan for CBS News, Detroit.
Route 66 Centennial kickoff events are underway in Springfield, the city that is recognized as the official birthplace of the Mother Road. Madison Wood, Communications Director for Visit Springfield, says celebrating 100 years of Route 66 could be huge.
We're expecting thousands of visitors, not only regionally, but nationally and internationally. Just in the last month, we have seen visitors from around the world with so much interest in Route 66.
The celebration runs through Sunday in Springfield with major concerts featuring Little Big Town, Gretchen Wilson, and the Ozark Martin Daredevils, plus parades, car shows, and Route 66 landmark dedications. Spotify is introducing verified artist badges to help distinguish between real human artists and AI on its platform, as songs primarily written by AI are increasingly topping the charts. Here's tech contributor Ian Scher.
Over the past year, AI artists, as they're increasingly called, have become rather popular on streaming sites, including now a number of songs that have become chart toppers across categories. As these AI artists have taken off, the key question has been, how do we make sure that people know what they're listening to? And that is where Spotify seems to be stepping in.
University City gets a new grocery store next Tuesday. The 75,000 square foot Deerbergs is opening at 8680 Olive Road at the southeast corner of I-170 and Olive. The grocery is located across from a 4-year-old Costco and a neighboring Target, the largest in the metro area, set to open May 17th. According to the Business Journal, the Deerbergs should employ 100 people. It'll be the 28th store in their chain. Animal shelters in the area are crowded, so adoption fees are being sponsored at the county shelter.
You know, when you do adopt a pet from our shelter, not only are you helping save that pet's life, but you're also creating space in our shelter so that we can care for more dogs around the community who, don't have the help that they need right now.
Mitch Finnegan with St. Louis County Animal Care and Control tells us the $80 adoption fee is waived through Sunday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, for tonight, few light showers. Could have a thunder shower, low 47. For tomorrow, sunshine, cool, high 63. Full moon for Friday night with a low of 43. Right now, downtown at the Arch, some clouds, 64. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
It's that time of the week where we tell you the story of an individual or an organization making the community better through sports. It's Building Community with Busey Bank Beyond the Game. Mike Brayman's prolific 5-year career with the Gateway Grizzlies put him into the Frontier League Hall of Fame, but it also propelled him to a life of helping kids get better at baseball. As the head of baseball operations for the Southern Illinois Blue Jays Youth Baseball Organization and head instructor for the Sports Locker, Brayman is constantly making an impact on young baseball players.
Once I got done playing, I knew I wanted to use my experiences through playing to help other people that may not have that same experience, may not have that knowledge, and help the people in our area, the kids and the coaches as well, opening their eyes to some things that they possibly could not understood.
From the moment Brayman was done playing, he knew this was the direction he wanted to take.
I started doing lessons and stuff like that and helping kids. And it was new. It's a new world for me because I never really coached a whole lot. I was just playing. It was about me and my career and trying to move up the ladder. And then once my son was born, I realized my playing days were over, and I wanted to help kids in the area.
And while he enjoys working with the older kids, he has seen just how much of an impact he can have on younger kids just starting to learn the game.
What I did first is it was the 16-year-old, 17-year-old kids at first, and then once I got into it a little bit more, I realized that I enjoyed the younger groups. They listen a whole lot better, and they soak up things a lot easier, too.
Mike Brayman is making the community better through baseball. This is Building Community with Busey Bank Beyond the Game.
Right now, inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake up the markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs, so this is not the time to just hope it works out. That's why Steve Auld and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified, May 6th and May 7th. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines may impact your returns, and whether your retirement strategy is truly stress-tested for today's economy. This event is complimentary, and you must reserve your seat today. 636-230-8824. You can also get more details online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
Want to hear a shocking statistic? Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. Don't believe it? Google it. And that doesn't count serious injuries like birth injuries to perfectly healthy children. All doctors wear white jackets, but it doesn't make them all the same. Most medical errors are committed by the same quacks over and over again. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Many hospitals looking for more profits are forcing doctors and their groups to be employees of the hospital or be forced out of their system. It's a troubling trend in medicine. People make mistakes, but medical mistakes are huge and often forever. If you believe your child suffered a birth injury or a misdiagnosis or mistake led to a loved one's death or injury, let our team of medical malpractice lawyers examine your case for free. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps, or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your Legacy Box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Take advantage of our Mother's Day sale, which starts now. It's our best deal of the year. Save up to 60% off. Visit legacybox.com/radio and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/radio for 60% off. Legacybox.com/radio.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, they cleared that crash we had eastbound 70 at Earth City. All lanes are open, but now they're dealing with a crash westbound 70 just west of Earth City, about the same spot. The right lanes are blocked, so traffic's jammed back pretty close to Lindbergh right now, and it's backing up the 270 ramps getting onto westbound 70, of course. 70 both ways around Jennings Station, heavy eastbound Bermuda westbound, about Goodfellow through there. South 170 still slow, Delmar to 64 from an earlier crash. Still seeing a jam westbound Olive approaching 170, all the way past Dealman, about midway out to Warson because of an earlier crash and the fact that they were using that as an alternate route when South 170 was closed. East and westbound 64 between Lindbergh and the Innerbelt heavy. The westbound side, though, remains slow to 270 west of Clarkson to Topgolf and 364 out to Highway 70. By the way, 70 in the Westplex, you've still got some heavy traffic from Lake St. Louis Boulevard all the way out to 61. 270 both ways between Manchester and 64 busy, but southbound is 364 to Doherty Ferry, and again 44 down to Gravois downtown. Eastbound 70 still backed up east of the Musial Veterans Bridge, and 64 a little slow, 255 through 157. Next update at 550 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Staples.
Staples has hundreds of ways to grow your business this spring, like spectacular signs, brilliant brochures, eye-popping posters, mouth-watering menus, and more. Shop now through June 13th and save up to $150 on all your custom prints. Staples. That was easy.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
It's Redbird Rush Hour here on KMOX. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Happily looking at what was a great series in Pittsburgh. The offense came to play. You got a couple of good pitching outings. You got one from Andre Palante that was really quality. And, you know, the starting pitching is still got some work. They got to get deeper into games if you're going to be able to survive. Because as we've seen, you've only got 3.5 reliable relievers. You got 3 for sure that I think we can agree have been reliable to this date, right? O'Brien, Romero, and Romero we'll get to, but because it kind of goes up and down with his usage. Mm-hmm. But with Romero and O'Brien and Graceffo, you've had 3 guys that when you've gone to them this year, you pretty much know what you're getting. And then Soriano's kind of half in, half out. Like he's not fully trusted, but he's also not like the other 4 guys who are very questionable anytime they come into a game.
It's been more good than bad for Soriano. I was talking about this the other day. When I evaluate relievers, I don't evaluate them so much on what their ERA is. I evaluate them on like their percentage of effective games.
Yeah, what did you do? Did you hold the lead? Did you right?
Did you even just numbers? If you've got a 5 ERA, but all
it's
comes
one blow
from
up,
two games and you're putting up zeros every other time out, I don't care about the ERA.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you go look at a Soriano because he's got like a 4.5, 4.6 ERA, something like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't look great, but then when you break down his numbers, he's been effective more often than not.
When you look at the bullpen, so far this year, I don't know that it counts today, but today the bullpen gave up a little bit. It wasn't in a meaningful situation, but like kind of to your point. But you have the 5th highest bullpen ERA in baseball. And when you look at the expected ERA, it's also the 5th highest expected ERA. So it's not bad luck.
No, it's not bad. I mean,
but it's also largely 2 guys that really ruin it. It's Stanek and Swanson when you look at their ERAs. Like, they're the ones that are ruining that. But then you think about Justin Brule is always potential gas can when he gets in there. Ryan Fernandez was good in the really short time that he was here.
He'll be back.
Yeah, for sure. The way he pitched, for sure.
I don't know if I agree with that move that they made because, especially with the Dodgers and Brewers coming to town, you want to have a full bullpen, and I thought Ryan Fernandez was really pitching well. I'll say this on Stanek and Swanson. You know, Stanek is still – he's got really good stuff. He's just not locating it. His strikeout numbers are fine. So, there's a path forward with Stanek where he can become much more effective. Same thing with Swanson and what we saw last year. So I would be more confident that at the end of the season that a Stanek and a Swanson are doing much better than they're doing right now. Whereas like a Justin Brule, where he's a big league reliever, but I think what you're seeing from him right now is just kind of who he is.
Is he?
Yeah.
I think there's a reason that it's been a lot of AAA time for him in the last
But it's also
few
been
years.
he's had a fair amount of big league time too. Like the Cardinals are not the first team to give him a big league opportunity.
No, but I know it was the Dodgers, which makes it harder to get into the mix, right? Because they got a million guys. Those are concerns, but maybe the bigger concern than ERAs and things like that is workload.
Yes.
And you mentioned that about Romero, and I think you should repeat that point because it's a really good one.
Yeah, so I've just watching Romero over his time with the Cardinals, when he gets overused, he falls off. And then a lot of guys, when they get overused and fall off, you give them a few days off and they just return back to where they've been before.
Yeah.
That's not been the case with Romero. 2 years ago, it basically took him a month of limited usage to finally find it again. He lost the ability to strike guys out for a while.
Which is where he is right now.
Yes. So I am very concerned, incredibly concerned. My number one concern about the Cardinals right now is that they've already used JoJo Romero, and to get him back to being the guy that he can be, that this is going to take a month plus of him taking the foot off the... And today was a great opportunity not to use him. You had Gordon Graceffo in the game. Graceffo's been doing a really, really good job. Knowing where Romero is at right now, I would have rather just given Romero the day, or at least given Graceffo a little bit more runway or leash or whatever you want to call it in that moment, instead of going to Romero in that spot, because I think...
And this was before they extended the lead.
It is,
so this was still a close game when it happened, but Graceffo was going great.
Yeah, and you were watching the game with me.
Yeah, we both said the same thing.
The moment Romero came in, I said I would have liked to have seen Graceffo stay in this situation. And it's not because of me being worried about how Romero is going to pitch. It's about me being worried about how Romero is going to pitch in 2 weeks and 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, so on and so forth.
Right now, he's on pace for almost 80 appearances.
You can't do it.
And I know it's early, but that's also another concern. Like when you're leaning on him that heavy early, we know why, because you only have one reliable lefty, and that's why it is. Yeah. That's why he's getting that call. But his swing and miss percentage, his whiff percentage, bottom 5% in baseball. That's not JoJo.
No.
Which means we maybe need to try to find a way to rein it back in.
It's overuse. I'm convinced it's overuse.
All right, more on the pitching side coming up in just a second here on KMOX.
Let's talk about Air Medical memberships. In an emergency, you don't choose who transports you. Dispatch sends the closest, most appropriate aircraft. Here's what matters: speed, skill, advanced care. Like critical care crews trained for the toughest moments. Like onboard blood that can make the difference between life and death. Arch Air Medical Service delivers life-saving air medical care across Effingham and surrounding communities. When you call for help, we bring hospital-level care to you. Plus, we're part of Air Methods, the nation's largest air medical provider. And about the cost, the No Surprises Act protects patients with private health insurance from unexpected out-of-network air ambulance bills. You're only responsible for your in-network copay, coinsurance, or deductible. Medicare and Medicaid patients have similar protections. No surprise bills, no balance billing, no membership required. Because when it's your life on the line, what matters isn't membership, it's medicine. Learn more at airmethods.com. Copays, coinsurance, and deductibles are set by insurance providers, not Air Methods. Terms and costs may vary. Contact your insurer for details.
The smartest way to do your homework is Hackman Lumber.
Thinking about building a new deck? Start with the deck experts at Hackman Lumber, home of one of the largest inventories of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. From treated lumber and cedar to all the leading names in decking, their experts will help you choose the perfect materials for your dream deck. Then finish it off with endless railing options, balusters, and LED deck lighting to bring your backyard to life. Hackman Lumber will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials, guaranteed. Do it yourself? Their team is ready with expert advice. Need help from a pro? They can connect you with trusted local contractors. Also, check out their expanding paint department with custom color matching. And don't forget, follow Hackman Lumber on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to catch weekly deal specials and project inspiration all season long. Or visit us at hackmanstl.com. Locations in St. Peters, Troy, and Pacific, Missouri.
Presented by Worldwide Technology, the BizDash 5K is back. Produced by the St. Louis Sports Commission, a high-energy corporate race in St. Louis's healthiest happy hour. Thursday, May 7th at Energizer Park. Register your team at stlbizdash.com.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got backed up traffic on westbound 70. Not a solid jam, but it's pretty congested from Cypress out through our city. That crash was, I can't quite see it now. They did have the right lane at least partially blocked just before you get to the Blanchette Bridge, so that may still be the case. Westbound 370 west of the Mills to the Discovery Bridge, that's slow as an alternate route for you. Westbound 64 in the city doesn't really look that bad. It's a little slow at the city limits, but it's still heavy. Clayton Worson to 270 west of Clarkson to Topgolf, and 364 out to 70. By the way, 70 out west, Lake St. Louis out through 61. That's still pretty busy. Eastbound 64 east of Lindbergh through the Interbelts, heavy. South 170 delays at the Parkway. South 270 Olives of Ladue both ways between Manchester and 64 is still a little heavy as well. Eastbound 70 still backed up east of the Mutual Veterans over to 64, but 64 coming through 157 has thinned out. Next update at 5:59 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Hey, it's Matt and Leslie Holiday. When we got to St. Louis, it wasn't long before we started searching for a way to give back.
We visited Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, and we knew this is where we belonged.
Homers for Health has been going strong for 15 years and has made such an unbelievable impact on the hospital. I've won a World Series, but I consider the work we have done at Cardinal Glennon to be the greatest achievement.
Yes, your support truly makes a difference. Make your pledge for patients today at homersforhealth.org to benefit the devoted fund.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Looking to build your dream home? Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. And for a limited time this April, we're offering something we rarely do. Exclusive incentives designed to help you get more from your new home. From a free finished recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades to flexible perks like design credits or closing cost savings, there's an opportunity waiting for you. But these offers are available in select communities and only for a short time. Visit LombardoHomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
Just a couple minutes left here on Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Sports Open Line after the news. What's up on Sports Open Line today, man?
Since we did not have a show yesterday, Bernie Miklas is going to be with us today. Daniel Guerrero from the Post-Dispatch will be on to talk Cardinals. We'll do a few other things as well. We have our building community interview, so lots going on.
I'm really enjoying the fun, competitive nature of the team, even if it's going to end up being and we don't know one way or the other, but even if this season ends up being what we expected, upper 70s and wins, kind of the soft rebuild is probably the way that I would put it, because it's not really a teardown because you kept a lot of guys and then you added, J.J. Weatherholt or whatever. But even if it's that, if they're fun like this, that's an okay start to get things turning in the right direction.
Yeah. I'm worried about wins a little bit more right now just because they're playing well, and I'd like this to keep happening.
It to continue, yeah.
But if at some point the wins start drying up a little bit, but they play the same style of baseball, I'm good.
No, I like the offense is more fun. You've got a little bit more offensive juice. That's largely, Weatherholt's presence and Walker being a new version of himself. And, I think I'm comfortable with Weatherholt saying he's probably going to be similar to this all year. Maybe not 7 home runs a month. That's a lot. That's 40 home runs. I'm not sure we're going to get that. But I'm convinced that he's going to be a consistent offensive player. And if Walker is, those two things would be a path towards being a wild card contender.
Yes, and that makes you a better offensive club than you even were last year.
Right.
And last year, you were not that far off from being a playoff team. Now, last year, the pitching was better. That's still going to be the question. What can they do?
Which is strange because I don't know. I mean, the bullpen fell off so bad so far. I mean, again, it can turn around. It's 1 out of 6 months, but
I think at the end of the day, in the season, bullpen's going to be okay. I just don't know who's going to be in that bullpen.
It's a good point. And then the rotation, we didn't get too much today. It's been okay, but it's got its flaws. They don't get deep in games. They don't miss bats. But there are at least some positive signs. Palante's been better.
Yeah, Palante's been striking guys out. Leahy's been striking
good.
guys out. So the strikeouts have been a little bit more lately.
At least the last week or two. Yeah, that's good. All right, have fun, buddy.
Thanks.
Sports Open Line after the news on KMOX.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your Legacy Box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Take advantage of our Mother's Day sale, which starts now. It's our best deal of the year. Save up to 60% off. Visit legacybox.com/radio and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/radio for 60% off. Legacybox.com/radio.
Don't miss a baseball showdown at Busch Stadium when Shohei Ohtani and the LA Dodgers roll into the Lou, May 1st through the 3rd. Kick off the weekend with Friday Night Live and a must-have short-sleeve hoodie giveaway. Saturday brings a Mason Wynn bobblehead celebrating his Gold Glove Award. Then Sunday features a sleek Blade collar shirt giveaway. Big names, big matchups, and big giveaways all weekend long. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotion.
This is Mason Wynn. Get your tickets at cardinals.com.
The 1-2, and that's grounded up the middle. Diving play, Mason Wynn to his feet. He throws, he got him.
What's up, Cardinals fans? Mason Wynn here. On Saturday, May 2nd, when we face the Dodgers, you can take home the Mason Wynn Gold Glove bobblehead presented by the Shane Company. It's got my chain, my first gold glove, my whole look, just how I rock it. Plus, a few rare all-gold baubles will be randomly mixed in for 500 lucky fans. This is one you won't want to miss. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
Each year in St. Louis, 10 women are recognized for volunteer leadership that changes lives. They support families, strengthen communities, and create opportunities where they're needed most. Join us Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton for the 2026 Women of Achievement Awards Luncheon. Celebrate their impact and be part of a tradition more than 70 years strong. Reservations available at WOASTL.org. For more information, go to KingdomOX.com/events.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, it looks like there's still a fire pumper parked in the right lanes eastbound 70 just before you get to 141 or City from that earlier incident, but traffic's light enough now that there's really no delays. I'm watching it. It's busy, but there's nothing slowing down. However, we did have that secondary spinoff crash on the westbound side of 70 at that same point between Earth City and the Blanchette Bridge. They may still have the right lane blocked. It's hard for me to tell you. It's a pretty solid jam through there, and the delays begin at the Rock Road on westbound 70 right. Highway 64, you've got heavy traffic west of the Mills out to Earth City, then it thins out. North 170, Scudder Airport Road's a little heavy. Westbound 64, Clayton Worson to 270, slow a little bit at Topgolf and busy 364 out to 70. Eastbound 64 is slow west of McKnight through Hanley, opens up by the time they get to Big Bend. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Breaking news out of Tacoma, Washington, with reports of a stabbing at a high school and multiple people injured. CBS's Carter Evans with the latest.
Authorities tell CBS News a suspect is in custody and was taken to the hospital along with 4 other students and a school security officer. Now, police say all patients are stable, but the extent of their injuries is unknown. A parent who rushed to campus to pick up her daughter said there were reports of a fight between multiple students that resulted in the stabbings. She said after school activities were canceled and that she's afraid to send her child back to school tomorrow.
New York City police say a man forced his way into a home where his family was and intentionally set off an explosion, also threatening the first responders who had just arrived at the front door. CBS's Tom Hansen.
Body cam footage shows the very moment NYPD officers were blown back by the force of an explosion while responding to a domestic dispute in Queens.
The guy just lit the house on fire. We had an explosion.
Seconds later, those same NYPD officers, some of whom were injured in the blast, rushed in and brought those residents, including several children, to safety.
Not seeing eye to eye on the war with Iran, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and New York Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. She tells the secretary that the majority of Americans do not support the war.
They are furious, and they expect me to explain to them why they are furious.
And Senator, when I talk to Americans, and especially when I talk to the troops, they are grateful for a president who has the courage to take on this threat after 47 years of what Iran has done, targeting and killing Americans.
The exchange came as Hegseth spent a second day on the Hill defending the Pentagon's record $1.5 trillion budget request. Gas prices are up about 30 cents in 1 week to an average of $4.30 a gallon, but higher in places like California. Oil prices are now around $116 a barrel due to the war with Iran. If you earn less than $35,000 a year, President Trump has signed an executive order clearing the way for retirement accounts, which he says will include federal matching funds of up to $1,000 per year.
In my State of the Union earlier this year, I promised to make these same types of retirement accounts enjoyed by the federal employees available to all Americans. So that's what we're doing.
Spotify is introducing verified artist badges. CBS News tech contributor Ian Scher explains why.
Right now, Spotify seems focused on identifying who is a real-world artist and what is just an AI. But over time, as technology evolves and is increasingly used across industries, it may become harder to distinguish.
This is CBS News.
It's one of the most successful law and justice programs in television history that continues to uncover the truth. 48 Hours, Saturday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at Amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR.
At 6:04 right now, we've got some clouds. It is 63 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. We've been telling you for a year about problems at the Postal Service. Now 2 local members of Congress are doing something. It comes after hundreds of pieces of undelivered mail were found dumped in a Northside vacant lot this week, some postmarked as far back as January. The St. Louis Postal Accountability and Reform Act, introduced by Representatives Wesley Bell and Ann Wagner, would require USPS to benchmark its performance against national averages and report on corrective actions. Bell says constituents have been dealing with problems for years. Gary from Hardin, Illinois is one of them.
It's a systemic thing that's been going on for quite a while, and it's gotten to where we just use UPS now. We can't use the mail service anymore.
Bell says constituents are waiting weeks for prescription medications and benefit checks. The bill has co-sponsors from both parties in both states, Missouri and Illinois. Eastbound I-64 between Vandevetter and Compton is going to be replaced. MoDOT says the bridge will close in late 2027 for a year as part of a large-scale construction project on 11 other city bridges.
Of course, lots of bridges in our city right now are old, but this one is requiring more and more and more maintenance over time. And now it's to the point where the best investment of our public dollars is to completely replace this bridge so that it's strong in place and doesn't have ongoing maintenance happening on this bridge all the time that has those impacts to traffic.
Area engineer Jen Wade says the project will be paid for through subsidies from the federal government, but the overall cost estimate is $120 million. Full construction expected to be finished in 2029. Belleville area Catholics get ready to officially receive their new bishop. Bishop-elect Father Godfrey Mullen will be ordained tomorrow afternoon at the Cathedral of St. Peter in Belleville.
Father Godfrey will become the 10th bishop of the Belleville Diocese, replacing now Archbishop Michael McGovern, who was elevated to lead the Omaha Archdiocese after serving the past 5 years in Belleville. The 60-year-old bishop-elect is an Alton native and a Benedictine monk. He currently serves as rector of the Cathedral of St. Peter and has been the diocesan administrator since Archbishop McGovern left last year. The soon-to-be new bishop says he'd prefer to be addressed by his first name, so Bishop Godfrey, since so many in the Belleville Diocese, he says, already know him as Father Godfrey. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
An 85-year-old bike rider is recovering after getting struck by a Valley Park man this week.
This Wednesday at around 2:10 p.m., officers responded to a reported assault in the 500 block of Vest Avenue. Investigators believe an 85-year-old man was riding his bike around Valley Park when 36-year-old Casey McBride was driving by in his truck. Witnesses told police McBride followed the victim on his bike and repeatedly cut him off before eventually catching up to the victim and hitting his bike. The 85-year-old man was knocked to the ground. His bicycle was dragged off by McBride's truck. Police say the victim was hospitalized with a broken hip after the incident. When police tried to arrest McBride, the Valley Park man struggled with officers, tried to spit at one, and grabbed the genitals of one of the officers after threatening to do so. He also admitted to officers that he was driving the truck, but stated that he only, quote, tapped the victim's bike with his truck. Ivy Lyons, KMOX News.
The Loop Trolley was running on the track today for the first time this season, and our Jade Aubrey was there.
I'm currently standing in front of the pageant on Del Mar Boulevard, which is one of the 10 stops the westbound Loop Trolley makes. The trolley's open 11 to 7, Thursdays through Sundays through October, and it's free for St. Louis residents to ride.
The season runs through October 25th. Well, let's get you to Roger Brand, find out how things are going on the highways and byways.
Well, it's still busy on westbound 70, Michael. This traffic reports a service of the Missouri History Museum's Route 66 Centennial Festival today through May 3rd. Westbound 70 and eastbound 70, we had crashes just west of our city. They just opened up like a minute ago, the right lane eastbound, so there's no delays there. But the right lane may still be blocked west before you get to Blanchette Bridge because we're still backed up to 270. In fact, south 270, those exit lanes to get onto westbound 70 are jammed at the Rock Road. Westbound 64 is still kind of slow. Spady out to 270, a little busy west of Clarkson to Topgolf, and then 364 out to 70. Southbound 170 heavy at Brentwood. Eastbound 64 170 through Hanley. You've got delays. Other than that, the rest of these highways are wrapping up in great shape. Don't miss the Route 66 Festival at the Missouri History Museum today through May 3rd. Music from Sweetie and the Toothaches, a classic car show, neon display, kids crafts, and more. Schedule at mohistory.org/festival. I'm Roger Brand in the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
We have another weak little cool front coming by this evening and overnight, so there's a fair amount of clouds around. There could be a couple of spotty showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. It is not much of anything. 47 will do it for the overnight low. The main thing this front does is reinforce the northwest flow, so Friday is mostly sunny. It's a cool day. 53 Friday night, partly cloudy and chilly. Take it down to 43 Friday night. Friday night, also the full moon, the full flower moon in the month of May. The weekend, first weekend of May, Saturday sunny and cool, 63, 41 Saturday night. Sunday sunny, warmer in the afternoon after a chilly start, 74 Sunday afternoon. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We've got clouds in the sky. Right now, it's 63 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here we go for a first time this week. We've got a Gray Bar Sports Open line here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. So great to have you with us as we will take you for the next 2 hours until 8 o'clock this evening. And we've got a lot to get to on the program today. Our guest list, Bernie Miklasz, is going to join us in about 10 minutes. We'll talk all things Cardinals with him. Keith Costigan, who is part of the team at Apple TV covering MLS soccer. He is going to join us at about 6:35. Next hour, right out of the top of the hour, Daniel Guerrero from the Post-Dispatch and STL Today will be with us to talk Cardinals baseball. And then coming up later on in the show, we're going to have our weekly building community interview. Former Gateway Grizzly Mike Brayman, who now works teaching kids baseball. He's going to be our building community feature this week, and we're going to talk with him at about 7:35. So that's the guest list. I always say this on days that the Cardinals play weekday day games. If we try to, because we don't do the full extended extra inning show on weekday day games the way we do on night games and weekend games, we will open up the phones and the text line and all that coming up at some point in the program as well. If you want to join us, you can do so. Phone number to call or text, 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can also tweet into the program if you'd like, at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. And if you are watching on the video stream, we welcome your comments on that as well as we continue to take you through the program tonight. That's a really good 4 days for the Cardinals. I wasn't expecting a 4-game series sweep. I wasn't. And I thought they could go in and, for me, kind of a best case scenario thing was maybe they win 3 out of 4. I thought in all likelihood it was going to be a series split because it seems like most 4-game series in Major League Baseball are a split, and you come into the series and the two teams are right next to each other in the standings. It did not seem like something where the Cardinals were going to be able to sweep. They sweep, and they do it in a compelling way. And when I say a compelling way, that doesn't mean it's like a really good way. And it is good because they won all the games. But finding ways to win some of these games when things were going poorly. The fact that they are still having letdowns from the relief pitching, that's a thing. That's a real thing. But they've been able to win games despite that. You look at last night's game specifically, where Ryan Stanek had a really hard time, and you had some other guys who struggled a little bit as well, and all of a sudden what was a 5-1 game turned into a 5-4 game before you knew it, and a ball hit out to the outfield that was hit maybe just a little bit further would have been out and not a catch at the end of the game. That would have been a loss. That would have been a really tough loss for the Cardinals last night. You were literally inches away from giving up a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th inning. Thankfully, you didn't. Thankfully, Nathan Church was out there to go ahead and make the catch. So that's the personality of yesterday's game. Today's game was one where you got out to a lead against Paul Skeens. You continue to have some level of success against him. This time when Pittsburgh came back, you were able to answer with a big inning and really put it away. So it was different days, different games, different ways of winning. But the bottom line was they kept winning games, and it was very, very fun to be able to watch. That's something. This team is fun for multiple reasons, and we use the word fun way too often. We need to find new words. But the reason they are that is because of the personality of the team, the way the team plays, but also because of the way some of these games are going down. It was nerve-wracking, but it was an enjoyable experience to take that game in yesterday. That was high drama. That was edge of your seat. That was listening, watching, being completely and totally locked in and engaged. You know, I can tell a difference when we're doing the post-game show. And maybe this is an obvious thing to a certain extent, but you win a game like they won last night, I can tell more people were engaged in that game, just in the sense that we're getting so much more interaction when we're doing the post-game show. Where if they win a game 5-4, just the same way yesterday, but it goes down in a different way, the final 3 innings play out differently, and it's not quite as compelling, the interaction during the post-game show is going to be different. So that game yesterday literally grabbed people and had them locked into it. And we are seeing that a lot this year with this team, where they're playing games in ways that are incredibly compelling. They're enjoyable to watch. They're enjoyable to listen to. And I'm looking forward to a fun series. There I go. I use the word fun again. I'm looking forward to this series against the Dodgers that's going to begin tomorrow. And hopefully we got a lot of folks that are going to be coming out to Busch Stadium for these next 3 days. We will take a break. We'll come back, and our friend Bernie Miklasz is going to join us for our weekly conversation with him. That's next. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game.
Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug!
Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down.
Hey!
Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
For decades, Morgan & Morgan has represented hundreds of thousands of people at their hour of need. Injuries on the job, car crashes, medical malpractice, and nursing home abuse, Social Security claims, dangerous drugs, and dangerous products. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason, and no firm is even close. Then we got to thinking, what if we could prevent these terrible events before they occurred? So we built the AI-powered People Protector. Simply visit peopleprotector.com and type in the product you have questions about before you buy it. Children's toys and accessories, cars, drugs, products, you name it, we got it. With our success, we decided to pay it forward for all of America. Our way of saying thank you for your trust all these years. Morgan & Morgan, protecting America. And if you've already been injured, just visit us at forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
All hail Spamalot, the Tony Award-winning best musical comedy that will have you laughing your coconuts off. The Washington Post declares Monty Python's Spamalot is the funniest musical on Broadway. Entertainment Weekly calls it a hilarious fun fest. The Washington Post says it's unfair to laugh this much. Get your tickets now for the musical comedy event of the year, Spamalot, playing the Fabulous Fox May 5th through 17th. Tickets at fabulousfox.com.
I'm Piera Palazzolo,
VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Great Bar Sports Open Line continues here on KMOX. Welcome back in. My name is Matt Pauley. Happy to welcome on to the program. You hear him all over KMOX on just about every single one of our shows. Plus, you read him and watch him at STL Sports Central with daily columns, daily videos. He is our friend, Bernie Miklasz. Bernie, always great to talk to you. How about the Cardinals? A 4-game series sweep of the Pirates, and they at times there was a lot of flaws that showed up, but it didn't matter. They found ways to win.
Yeah, good to be with you as always, my good friend. Listen, So we're watching the Cardinals on the first game of the series, and I'm not going to say that they were dead or they, were without passion, but the Pirates rolled out all those relievers that kind of opener game. You've seen a different arm every couple innings, and those guys were on point, and the Cardinals were just totally futile offensively. And I mean, if I would have wagered on that or something, I would have bet a lot of money and the Pirates win that game. And it's just like, just when you think you've got the Cardinals figured out, or just when you think that they're cornered, or it's like, well, they can't possibly deal with this, they rise up and strike again and remind everyone that it's really kind of silly to count them out or to assume things or to expect, because the national media or whomever, has them in, like ranked 19th, 20th in these power rankings or whatever it is. So, well, they're not that good. Yeah, look at how they're playing tonight. And then it's like, boom, no, here we are. We're not going anywhere. I mean, I love watching this team. That win on Monday just set up the entire series. I agree with something Rick Horton said and John Rooney said on KMOX during the game today. I don't think the Pirates ever recovered from what the Cardinals did to them in the 9th inning in the series opener. I think they were left stunned the whole series.
I think that's right. And I want to compare two things, because they were on that 3-game losing streak earlier this year in Boston and Cleveland. And then they were losing that second game against Cleveland, and then an error allowed them to extend the game, a 2-out 9th inning error, and eventually they won that game in 10 innings, and then they went on to win 5 in a row. Now we go to this situation where the Cardinals had lost 4 in a row. They're in Pittsburgh. They're down in the 9th inning, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they get this very unexpected victory, and now they've won 4 in a row. That's 2 times, Bernie, where they've been on kind of losing streaks, and then they've done something unexpected, and seemingly that has pushed them forward to multiple wins.
Right. They do something. It's not only unexpected, it's like really dramatic, and the tenacity and the drama of it, and just sort of how fearless they are and how stubborn and persistent they are, where they won't back down, they won't go away. I think that it isn't that they should be admired for that, because they obviously should, but it's also the impact it has on the other side. I still think the baseball world, so to speak, is still trying to catch up with the story here in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of obvious. I still think, and I'm not trying to sound like, a provincial homer or whatever, but I still don't think people around the country who supposedly cover baseball, I still don't think the Cardinals are really on their radar at all. They spend a lot of their time, writing and yapping about, $300 million payrolls and teams that stink, even though they're spending like ungodly sums of money. Like they keep writing about these failures only because the failures have more name recognition and they have bigger payrolls. And the Cardinals are like, oh, you guys, oh, that's a cute story. Go stay over there on the side. We'll get to you at some point. I mean, I'm I don't mean to sound like I'm calling other people out, but you have the Athletic, they don't even cover the Cardinals, right? They just dropped them from their coverage. And to me, that's staggering because as you and I and everyone at KMOX talked about a lot, the attendance is down with the Cardinals, but the interest level in the Cardinals remains very intense and very high. People are very much into this team. Some people are just not ready to return to Busch Stadium. That's okay. But you have the Athletic, dropping the Cardinals. They don't cover them. MLB.com pulled their beat writer off the Cardinals beat. I don't know why. And they're doing a good job filling in with some people that I respect, but that's really not the point. So I kind of love this whole thing. It was almost like, well, that we were so sick of the Cardinals winning all the time. Here's our chance to erase them from the map for a while. Wrong. Sorry. Not quite.
Yeah, they're a very compelling team right now, and like I opened it up with you, Bernie. There are still some flaws here. The bullpen was not especially good. I want to throw this out at you and see if you agree with me or not. I'm really worried about JoJo Romero, and that's based off me watching his trends with the Cardinals over the last few years. 2 years ago, way overused, really lost the ability to get swing and miss, and it took like a month or more for him to get it back. Like the track record with Romero is when you overuse him, you can't just like sit him down for a week or a few days, 3-day rest, and all of a sudden he goes back. His track record has been it takes an extended amount of rest and little usage for him to find it again. He's been used a ton. He was used today. I disagreed at the moment when they brought him in. I thought just leave Graceffo in that moment because I'm so worried about Romero and his usage right now. Anytime I see him come into a game, I'm going to cringe a little bit, not because of what he might do in that game, but what it means implication-wise for him moving forward. I am concerned about Romero right now, and I'm even more concerned that based off his track record, you can't just say, okay, we're going to take our foot off the pedal for a week. This might be something that takes a little while for him to come all the way back.
I agree with you 100%. I was having a conversation today with our friend Randy Carricker, and I said, I hate to say this, but this reminds me of Giovanni Gallegos all over again. And I know some people are like, well, why are you bringing him into this? Because for reasons Matt Pauley just explained. Gallegos was a great reliever, and they used him, and they used him, and they used him, and they used him, and they overused him. And the next thing you know, he's burned out. The arm, I'm not going to say the arm was shot, but he wasn't the same pitcher. I think they're doing this with Romero. I think they're risking doing this with Romero. And I think they got to be really, really careful. I agree with you. Listen, people like to say we never question anything Ollie Marmol does, and we're afraid to say this or whatever. All the goofball conspiracy theories. I think Ollie Marmol today had a great opportunity to leave Graceffo in the game, who has been outstanding, and to just back away from Romero. And so I think this is one time, like with the bullpen. As well as I think Ollie does with it, I didn't like that today. I didn't, and really, it's a buildup over several days. And the other thing, I'm going to bring Chaim Bloom into this because people say, "Oh, those guys all are in love with Chaim Bloom," blah blah blah. Well, I think Chaim Bloom's done a great job, But at some point, Ollie Marmol needs. The Cardinals have a desperate need for a second left-hander, and I would even argue a third left-hander. So they don't have to over rely on a tired Romero. And in general, we all are very reasonable. We know that the Cardinals are not going to trade prospects to get relievers and go away from Chaim Bloom's blueprint where you don't do things for the short term. You got to think long term. We all agree with this, but we also know every general manager in baseball will tell you there's a bunch of relievers out there. You can always find guys. John Mozeliak found Phil Maton. Nobody wanted him. I mean, they found Andrew Kittredge. Nobody wanted him. My point is that at some point with this team playing its heart out all the time and playing its tail off all the time, and they're a feel-good story. They're happy. They have so much energy. They play with joy. They're entertaining. I think the fans are getting into them. At some point, Chaim Bloom is going to have to step up and do something to stabilize this bullpen. And again, I'm not saying you trade prospects for like some quote star reliever. There are guys I'm sure that they can get.
Yeah.
But you got to give this team some help because you know what? The Cardinals offense has been fantastic. I mean, really fantastic. I mean, they're one of 7 teams right now averaging 5 runs a game. You can't expect them to keep outscoring the other side because the problem is the Cardinals are averaging 5 runs a game, but the other teams are averaging over 5 runs a game against the Cardinals pitchers. So you can't, it's going to be really tough to sustain this type of thing. You got to stabilize that bullpen.
I'll finish you off with a stat here, Bernie, before I let you go. Left-handers are 1 for 25 against Gordon Graceffo this year.
Yeah, I don't get this. I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah.
Because it's even worse than what I thought. And you know, back in the day too, you know, the Cardinals did this, manager did this with Kevin Seagrass, kind of did it with Seth Maness and some others. I think you can be a little more careful if it means you're not going to burn guys out to where they no longer can do a good job for you.
I would agree. Before we let you go, Bernie, can you share with us a little bit about Window World?
You know, Window World's a great St. Louis business, and I'm really proud to talk about them and represent them on KMOX. You know, for over 20 years, Window World's been the gold standard in windows and other services for St. Louis families. I'm going to give you the number right at the top, and it's easy to remember, but I wanted to give it to you. 1-800-GET-WINDOWS. That's 1-800-GET-WINDOWS. Okay, what makes them so special? Well, to me, it's the commitment to service. They're ranked number 1 in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They're one of only 2 brands to earn the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. I would say that's a very strong endorsement. And this isn't just a national name, kind of an anonymous business. No, the St. Louis location has been locally owned and operated by folks born and raised right here for the last 23, 24 years. And Window World has improved the homes of over 80,000 of our neighbors in St. Louis and Illinois with a lifetime warranty that covers parts, labor, even glass breakage. So right now, Window World's offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. They always have other deals going on. The bottom line is if you're ready for new windows, you need help with siding or doors, call for a free in-home estimate today, 1-800-GET-WINDOWS, 1-800-GET-WINDOWS, or visit windowworldstlouis.com. Thank you.
Bernie Miklasz on KMOX is sponsored by Stewart's American Mortgage, home of the Bagel Loan, and by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer.
Stewie is unique because he gives you his personal cell phone number, all his customers, but anyone who wants to learn more about how he can help. So put this number on your contacts list and don't be shy. Call Stewie on his cell phone if you got questions or you want to do some business. 314-324-4440. Won't have to wait on hold and wonder if you're ever going to get help because Stewie will get to you quickly. And the biggest difference you get with the Stewart's American Mortgage is you pay less because he's the only lender to offer the bagel loan. It's famous, the bagel loan, because it looks like a zero in the middle and you pay zero in fees that other dealers will charge you for. When you refinance, for example, it's a great time to do it. You pay no appraisal fees, no closing costs, no title fees, no broker fees, zero. And when you buy a home and take out a loan for $200,000 or more, you pay zero lender fees, and they'll close that loan at American Mortgage quick, 10 days, as opposed to 3 or 4 weeks at other places. So to find out more, just Google Bagel Loan or call Stewie directly at 314-324-4440.
It's already April. Maybe you're planning to have some get-togethers, a graduation party, Father's Day cookout, who knows? But is your outdoor space ready? Maybe you never got around to all those improvements you had been planning. Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. And whether you're looking for a new deck or a patio, a pergola, a sunroom, a screen room, or all of the above and then some, Chesterfield Fence and Deck can make the magic happen because they have 58 years of experience And they have thousands of satisfied customers, and they offer real value because when you spend the money, you get a project that is going to last for years to come. They only ever use the highest quality materials. They have their own installation crews. That's important because those crews have years of experience. If you mention me, Debbie Monterey, they'll offer you 20% off your next outdoor project. Give them a call, stop by, or they'll come to you. It's Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best, chesterfieldfence.com.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Everything you knew about reaching customers online is being rewritten. Time to rethink your approach. Outcomes from Viant finds real customers, not impressions, not clicks, customers. Our AI maximizes every dollar of your budget against the outcomes that matter most and proves it happened. It's smarter advertising made simple. Visit Viant.ai.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. Lots of Cardinals talk today. We'll get back into it coming up in just a few moments, but really a special night for City SC last night as they advance in the U.S. Open Cup. They get a win against Chicago 2-1 in a game where Edward Leuven was really, really good with an assist and a goal. They are going to jump back into MLS play. They've got some Sunday soccer this weekend as they match up against Austin, and we're very happy to welcome onto the program right now. He is Keith Costigan. He'll be on the call coming up this weekend. Keith, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time with us today. How are you?
I'm good. And I bet City SC fans are feeling a little bit better about things heading into the weekend with the result last night as well.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird deal in the sense that that's a U.S. Open Cup game, so that doesn't help them in terms of what they're trying to do in MLS play, but it's against an MLS team, and it's a good effort, and there's just, I have to think there's a lot of positive things that they can build off of in being able to just simply get a result yesterday when they have not been able to get many results this season.
Yeah, and I think you take the positives in any tournament you're playing in right now. I've always said this, and I've said it a couple of times this week. Casual fans will look at the result and not necessarily put too much into the performance. They'll say, well, we lost, we're not doing well. But the more nuanced fans who've been watching City FC this year will say, no, there's been really good moments in games. There's some positives that you can build upon, but without getting the final outcome that you want, it's difficult to tell other people that. Last night, you get a win against a very good Chicago Fire team. You move on in a cup competition, so you have a chance to win that as well. So all in all, I'd say this is the perfect way to go into the weekend against Austin.
Eddie Leuven, I mean, we know what he's gone through. It feels like we're talking about him on an every week basis, but for him to get the most extensive playing time since he's returned from everything he's gone through and have that performance where it almost feel like he single-handedly got them that win last night, that's a really special moment for a guy going through a lot right now.
A special moment for everybody involved with the sport, in my opinion, because, all of us were with Eddie through the difficulties that he had to deal with off the field. I think everybody, was moved and had the hairs on the back of the neck stand up when he got the goal against Seattle. You think of the very best St. Louis City teams, and you think of Eddie Leuven in the middle of midfield, pulling the strings, creating, generating chances, and scoring goals as well. So, we've seen cameos of it. This is the biggest one we've seen so far. This is a positive. Look, the best teams all have one thing in common: the best players on the field. And Eddie Leuven is one of the best players in the league when he's fully fit and ready to go, and this is a positive sign for City FC and their fans.
Yeah, I think he played 39 minutes last night, and it looks like he could probably play a little bit more. That's a tough thing to figure out as a coach when you've got these midweek games, whether they're MLS play or whether there's something else. You've got the midweek. You don't want to lose your legs for the weekend, but you also want to give yourself a chance to come away with a win, and that was an important win yesterday. I'm always curious to see what the residual effect is going to be. I guess, if anything, they do get the extra day this week because they don't play until Sunday.
Yeah, massive, great point that you make on the extra day. Also, not that big in terms of, distance covered this week in terms of playing a game against Chicago. So that's not going to be a massive issue. You didn't travel, to the Pacific Northwest and have to come back or anything like that. So that's good as well. And then you have the medical team. In sports now, they have such a big say in how many minutes players are available to play. I'm sure he's been on a minute restriction in terms of building that fitness. And you don't want to get too greedy. You want Eddie Leuven for the full haul. You want him ready for the entire season. If you push that too early and he gets injured, all of a sudden you miss him for a bigger spell of time. So I think the club are playing this really, really well. He will probably be saying, look, I'm ready to go 90. The medical team will say probably around 45. Either way, we're going to see him on the field at some stage this weekend, and that's a real positive for City FC.
I know they didn't get the result this past weekend against San Jose. That's a good San Jose team they were matched up against. They lose by 1 goal, 3-2. You could find some positive things for sure out of that one. And then they do get the result yesterday in what has been a season where they haven't gotten the results, a season that has been disappointing so far. Does it feel like this is about as good as they've been playing all year long?
Yeah, it's very difficult when you go into a locker room when you're 2-1 up and then you end up losing 3-2 and turn around to players and say, hey, that's progress, because players are human. They want to win games as well. But, I thought there was great moments in that game. Every game I've watched City play this year, I think there's been good moments, good elements of it. The issue has been killing teams off, making those moments of pressure count. It's funny that you get 2 goals against San Jose and then you concede 3, because in other games you're defending better. You lose 1-0 at LAFC when you had spells as well. I still think fundamentally the main concern for St. Louis City is the goal scoring. The spells where you dominate possession or have more of the ball, you have to have that final product. I think Leuven coming back helps that. I think obviously Hartel's a great piece as well. I do think in that window in the summer, I think you'll see St. Louis City looking to add another striker as well, and that will give them a little bit more, polish in that final third. But I definitely think there's positives. I think anybody will be disappointed in losing the game, but if you look back at San Jose and the win against Chicago, lots of positives against 2 very good teams in MLS so far this season.
This is an Austin team they match up against this weekend that also has had a hard time finding wins. They've got just 2 compared to City's 1 in MLS play. So it feels like this is maybe an opportunity this weekend to start to put something together.
Yeah, it is. Austin have been missing a few key pieces in Owen Wolf and Brandon Vasquez. The rumors are they're going to be back in and amongst the squad this weekend, but they haven't been good going forward in terms of scoring goals, particularly at home. They've only got 6 in their 5 games. The one thing I would say is, for St. Louis City, you have to be aware this Austin FC team, very good on set pieces, score a lot of goals, lead the league in that way. So they are a threat. But again, I would imagine both sets of teams, coaching staff, fans, players, look at this game and say, this is one we can win. And that usually makes for a good game with a little bit of fireworks for us to call as well.
Do remind folks, Apple TV is the home of MLS. Every game is available to you. No more double paywall the way it was previously. If you've got Apple TV, I just saw the trailer for the new season of Ted Lasso. It's dropping in August. I'm excited. If you love Ted Lasso, if you've got Apple TV, watching the Friday Night Baseball, you get access to every single MLS game, including every single one that City SC plays in. And plus, they've got more content beyond that, studio shows, features, all kinds of things. Keith, you guys do great work. I always appreciate the time. Have a great call this weekend, and hopefully we can catch up again down the line.
Sounds good. Appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
You bet. Very good. That is Keith Costigan joining us. We'll be on the call for City SC coming up this weekend. We're going to jump back into Cardinals. This is the moment I always say when we have these weekday day games where we don't get to do the full extra inning show. This is your opportunity to call in, text in, tweet in, whatever it might be. If you've got thoughts on the Cardinals, if you've got thoughts on today's game that you want to share, you can give us a call right now, text us right now, and that's what the entire next segment is going to be dedicated to. 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. You can tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air, and we'll give you an opportunity to share what you would like to share or ask what you would like to ask about the Cardinals. So this is our moment to kind of do our post game together. Join us in just a moment. We'll take a break, have more in a moment. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Bernie Miklas here for Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer that's been taking great care of St. Louis families since 1927. Dan Saliga is a fourth-generation owner-operator of this proud family business, and he is maintaining the highest of standards. The Miklas family has called on Saliga for many years, and we give them the highest marks for honesty, knowledge, and class. You won't have to worry about Saliga trying to fast-talk you into something you don't need, but if a repair is needed, Saliga will patiently explain all of your options and answer all of your questions. The Saliga family business is still going strong after nearly 100 years, and they believe they must earn your trust every time. Saliga will never take your business for granted. Saliga services all makes and models for home or business and offers free estimates and financing options. I recommend Saliga's Priority Club. It's a maintenance plan that will save you money by extending the life of your equipment. To find out much more, call Saliga at 314-481-7333 or visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
Get ready to laugh out loud, St. Louis. The outrageous Broadway hit Spam-A-Lot is riding into the fabulous Fox Theater May 5th through the 17th. From the twisted minds of Monty Python, this Tony Award-winning musical brings you killer rabbits, dancing knights, and non-stop hilarity. It's the legend of King Arthur like you've never seen it before. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events. SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plate. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Make Cinco de Mayo delicious with Easy Cater, the easiest way to order food from favorite restaurants for all your celebrations. From April 27th through May 5th, every order placed earns you 1,000 bonus rewards points. Whether you're looking for traditional favorites like tacos and tortas, festive options like a build your own nacho bar, or hosting a breakfast fiesta with huevos rancheros and breakfast burritos, Easy Cater makes food for Cinco de Mayo a cinch. Order now at easycater.com with promo code Cinco de Mayo 26. Restrictions apply. See offer details.
Looking to build your dream home? Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. And for a limited time this April, we're offering something we rarely do. Exclusive incentives designed to help you get more from your new home. From a free finished recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades to flexible perks like design credits or closing cost savings, there's an opportunity waiting for you. But these offers are available in select communities and only for a short time. Visit LombardoHomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
The thing that you need in the morning, when you first wake up.
Total Information AM.
I like to be informed with the news and like to know, like in the mornings, I like to know what's going on.
Debbie Monterey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman.
It's always smart to know what's going on.
Your morning news and information.
The national and local news.
Weather.
Sports.
I like the traffic reports.
Total Information AM.
I listen to it in the mornings, so it really gets me going.
Total Information AM. Weekdays 5 to 9 on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertisement.
Experience an evening of love, beauty, and lush soundscapes as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra performs Ravel's Daphnis and Chloe. 3 extraordinary pieces come to life, from Ravel's masterpiece to the world premiere of Nathalie Joachim's Family to Kevin Putz's evocative Virelai. Nearly 300 musicians, May 8th through 10th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Starting to wrap up hour number 1 of the program. Daniel Guerrero from the Post-Dispatch is going to join us just after the 7 o'clock news. We always try to give an opportunity on these days that the Cardinals play day games to give you the opportunity to chime in on anything that you would like to talk about, Cardinals related. So we'll do that. If you want to call or text, 314-436-7900. Tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air. We start with Paul, who's given us a call. Hey, Paul, you're on Sports Open Line.
Hey, Matt.
Hey.
I have a question or comment. When is Lars Newport coming back? That's my question.
Probably in about a month. When he's due to come off the injured list at the end of May, he's expected to probably be available right around that time. So end of May, May 20-something is when he's eligible to come off the 60-day.
Okay. And my comment is something I read recently. There's a pitcher, used to be a top of the rotation pitcher named Trevor Bauer, who was just signed by the Long Island Ducks Independent League recently. If I were the Cardinals, I would keep an eye on him. If he shows that he can pitch well, probably get him on the cheap. It'd be a no-brainer. They need a number 1 starter, and I think it'd be a guy to look at.
Yeah, Paul, appreciate the phone call. We would disagree on that one as hard as I can disagree with anything. You don't want Trevor Bauer in the Cardinals organization. And I acknowledge the fact, and Paul, I don't know how much you know about the story of Trevor Bauer and the different things he's been accused of and the things that was accused of that he was basically found out that he didn't do some of those things. Like, there has been some stuff that's happened with Trevor Bauer that has not been fair to him. There was a woman who accused him of some basically sexual assault, and it very much came out later that what she said wasn't true. So I'm not somebody who is just like 100% Trevor Bauer's the worst person in the world. And he's, I acknowledge the fact that there have been some things here with Bauer that he's been accused of that are not true. So I try to be very fair when it comes about talking to Trevor Bauer. That being said, he's a terrible teammate. I have talked to multiple people who have been teammates with him and did not like him. And I know there's some people out there who have come to his defense, but the vast majority of people that I have spoken to who have spent time with Bauer in a clubhouse, it has been a very, very, very negative experience. The Cardinals have so much going for them right now in terms of everybody pulling in the same direction. I don't want a negative force walking into that clubhouse. The second thing, if you really look, what people do behind closed doors in the bedroom is not my business. I get that. That being said, through all the court battles and accusations and things that he has been through, there has been some stuff that has come out about him that is true about the way he does act in behind closed doors. And it makes me just a little bit uncomfortable. I'm not trying to be a total prude about things, but there's just some stuff in there that, while not technically illegal, is not awesome. The third thing is he has very much out there. At one point, there was almost, and you can find it. Go Google Trevor Bauer social media bullying. He's been a complete a-hole and jerk to people the way he has bullied people on social media previously. Not so much lately. And, I try to not judge people off their worst moment. So it's kind of a culmination of things. And then from a pitching standpoint, I just don't know how good he is anymore. Okay, he's going to go pitch for the Long Island Ducks. So what, and I love independent league baseball. I broadcast independent league baseball. It's not a super high level of it's not most AAA teams are better than those teams there. I mean, there's some former big leaguers that are that are he's probably got some teammates that are former big leaguers. But last year he split time between the minor league and the highest league in Japan. He was good in the minor leagues of Japan's last year with a 1.80 ERA. But when he got up to the Japanese Premier League, the JPCL, so there's the JPEL and the JPCL. When he was in the JPCL, he was 4-10 with a 4.51 ERA. Last time he was good in the big leagues was 2021 when he was really good with the Dodgers. 2.59 ERA. Like, I'm not trying to be dismissive of him. I hope it's coming across this way. I try to be really fair when I talk about Trevor Bauer because he's a polarizing individual and people are either to one extreme or the other. And I try to assess him as down the middle as I possibly can. That's something that's really important to me, that when we talk about him. So there are some things that have simply just not been fair to him, some false accusations. Maybe if those false accusations would not have come out, he never would have lost his job in the first place. I'm not running away from any of those facts, but everything that has happened has happened. So no, that's probably a much longer answer than you wanted to get, but that's my answer on Trevor Bauer. I don't want him anywhere near the Cardinals. Anywhere near the Cardinals. I got a text message. Says Cardinals need the starting pitcher to pitch the whole game instead of the bullpen every sixth inning. Cardinals need more length out of their starters. From a aggregate standpoint, the Cardinals are like right with the major league average in terms of length of starting pitching. This is something where if people don't follow along to what else is going on in baseball, then maybe you don't realize the state of starting pitching right now in Major League Baseball. The average length of start in Major League Baseball is about 5 1/3 innings. If you take every single start in Major League Baseball in aggregate, right now, the average start is 5 1/3 innings. That's basically what the Cardinals are getting. Now, what the Cardinals are not getting is they don't have that one dude who's going to get you into the 6th inning and 7th inning, pitch a full 6 consistently. If you can get a guy who can give you 7 innings, well, and there's not a lot of those guys out there, but there's a few. If you can have just that one guy who can get you 7 innings, then at least once every time through your 5-day stretch, you're giving your bullpen a day where you're not stressing out the bullpen. The Cardinals essentially are requiring 4 innings from their bullpen on an almost every night basis. And I think that's having as much of a negative impact on the Cardinals as anything else. Again, the aggregate numbers across Major League Baseball, this is not just a Cardinals thing, is the 5 1/3 innings. That's what the Cardinals are getting. That being said, it would be nice if somebody could emerge that just that one single individual who can give you a little bit more so you can have a single day where you know the bullpen's going to get a little bit of a rest. That's it for hour number 1. We'll talk with Daniel Guerrero from the Post-Dispatch next. It's Graybar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
Apple was the top smartphone seller in the world in the first quarter. Counterpoint Research reports that global iPhone shipments were up 5% compared to the year-ago quarter, with Apple grabbing 21% of the global smartphone market. Samsung came in second place with a 20% market share, although its shipments were down 6%, with the top 5 rounded out by Xiaomi, Oppo, and Vivo. I'm Jason Brooks.
If you own a small business, the pressure never lets up. Something's always coming at you. That's why business owners turn to LendSeek for funding.
I don't need promises. I need options. LendSeek's AI platform showed me real funding choices. Now I can cover payroll, handle taxes, and go after growth opportunities without the daily stress.
Up to $5 million with funding in as fast as 24 hours. No upfront costs. No prepayment penalties. Start ready, stay ready. Lendseek.com. LENDSEEK.com.
For decades, Morgan & Morgan has represented hundreds of thousands of people at their hour of need. Injuries on the job, car crashes, medical malpractice, and nursing home abuse, Social Security claims, dangerous drugs, and dangerous products. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason, and no firm is even close. Then we got to thinking, what if we could prevent these terrible events before they occurred? So we built the AI-powered People Protector. Simply visit peopleprotector.com and type in the product you have questions about before you buy it. Children's toys and accessories, cars, drugs, products, you name it, we got it. With our success, we decided to pay it forward for all of America. Our way of saying thank you for your trust all these years. Morgan & Morgan, protecting America. And if you've already been injured, just visit us at forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
If you're carrying a lot of credit card or personal loan debt, every month can start to feel the same. All those bills, all those due dates, all that stress. There's a solution that's designed to make it easier for you. National Debt Relief could put you on the fast track to paying off your credit card debt, personal loans, and even medical debt for less than you owe, with just one low monthly payment you can afford. And no, it's not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. It's a real, affordable debt relief program that could save you lots of money. National Debt Relief has already helped over 1 million people with their debt and has thousands of 5-star reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. So if you owe $10,000 or more, don't wait. Call 800-300-4411 now to see if you qualify. That's 800-300-4411. One call could help reduce what you owe and simplify your monthly payments. Call 800-300-4411 now to find out how much you could save.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. If you got stuck in the long lines at airport security checkpoints because of the partial government shutdown, well, it's over. President Trump has signed a bill funding the Department of Homeland Security, and as CBS's Nicole Killian points out,
the reality is that this ended in the blink of an eye, and really, if you weren't paying attention to the House floor, you would have missed this entire vote happening because there wasn't a regular vote where you normally see that tally of lawmakers. Instead, this was done by a simple voice vote. Boom, boom, done. We looked up, and the Department of Homeland Security was magically funded.
76 days after the shutdown kicked in. The Trump administration had warned that temporary funds to pay TSA and other personnel would soon run out if Congress failed to act. Congress has also approved an extension of a key U.S. surveillance program. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
The program was set to expire on Friday. In approving its extension, new oversight measures were added, including a monthly civil liberties review. But lawmakers stopped short of adding a requirement for warrants. Speaker Mike Johnson said 2/3 of the president's daily national security briefing comes from intelligence collected by the statute, and it couldn't go dark. But it faces an uncertain future in the Senate.
Police in Tacoma, Washington report at least 5 people have been injured in a possible stabbing at a high school. CBS's Carter Evans with details.
They're looking for any social media video that may have captured it. Our affiliate is reporting that this all may have stemmed from an argument over a vape pen.
The suspect, a student, was detained at the scene. The voyage home has been authorized for the American aircraft carrier, the USS Ford, after an unusually long time at sea. Details from CBS News military consultant Jeff McCausland.
The Ford and his crew have been involved not only in the ongoing war with Iran, but also an extended patrol in the Mediterranean, following a return to the Caribbean to conduct interdiction operations against alleged drug boats from Venezuela and the subsequent operation to remove its Nicolas Maduro.
Britney Spears has been charged with a misdemeanor DUI in California.
The Ventura County DA's office making it official. Britney Spears charged with driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol after that incident in March, where California Highway Patrol pulled over Spears, who was reported to be driving erratically and speeding on the 101. She underwent a field sobriety test and was arrested. The misdemeanor charge comes after she voluntarily checked herself into a treatment facility. She'll be arraigned this coming Monday. Matt Wolf, CBS News.
The criminal complaint did not specify the type of drugs involved. This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Mornings.
This is a slam dunk.
So cute. Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
At 7:03, we've got some clouds. Right now, it's 62 degrees downtown at the Arch. There is action from D.C. after hundreds of pieces of undelivered mail were found dumped in a vacant lot in North St. Louis this week. Utility bills, insurance cards, and bank documents among the items. Intentionally dumping mail is a federal offense, and the Postal Service says it is investigating. But callers to KMOX's Chris and Amy show say they've been living with postal problems for years. Gary from Hardin, Illinois, a beekeeper, says he used to ship live queen bees through the mail until the St. Louis hub made it impossible.
We routinely send queen bees in the mail. Well, that was routinely up until about 4 or 5 years ago, because now anything you ship in the mail just bounces around St. Louis. It's a systemic thing that's been going on for quite a while.
This week, local congressional representatives Ann Wagner and Wesley Bell introduced the STL Up to Par Act, bipartisan by state legislation to require USPS report to Congress on its delivery performance and what it's doing to fix any problems.
I am delighted to say we are so close to having all of our lanes back. The Truman on-ramp from Lafayette and Truman to southbound I-55 is open again.
MoDOT area engineer Jen Wade says construction work on I-55 is nearly done. Pending good weather, Wade says construction should wrap up halfway through May. For now, Wade says 2 lanes headed southbound and 2 lanes going northbound are open through the construction zone. A St. Charles man is sentenced to just over a year in federal prison for a 5-year scheme that drained $434,000 from an unidentified St. Louis area medical business. 33-year-old Talon Lewis worked as an accounts payable specialist and used his access to patient refund lists to redirect checks to himself, friends, and acquaintances using fake names. 14 people helped him pull it off, kicking back 30% of what they received. Lewis spent his cut on personal expenses and at local casinos. As part of a sentence, he is banned from gambling establishments during his 3 years of supervised release. Several students spotted a cow roaming on campus at the University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana yesterday around 3:30 in the afternoon. The university in a statement says the cow got loose while being loaded onto a trailer at the College of Veterinary Medicine's large animal clinic. She sustained some superficial injuries during the incident, but is not expected that she'll require additional treatment. Students on campus say the incident caught them by surprise.
I was just doing some homework, and I got a text in one of my group chats that there was a cow running around on the quad. I biked out as fast as I could, and we saw the cow right over here, right in front of Follinger, and we just watched them load this cow up.
We've had many stories like that in St. Louis through the years. Forecast overnight, few light showers, maybe a thunder shower, low 47 for tomorrow. Sunshine, cool temperature 63. Full moon tomorrow night, low 43. And for Saturday, starting the weekend, sunshine, cool, high 63. Right now, we've got some clouds. It is 62 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
We are underway with hour number 2 of the program, taking you till 8 o'clock this evening. Tomorrow night, Cardinals baseball. They're back home. They've got a big series coming up against the Dodgers. We'll see how they do, coming off a 4-game series sweep of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And to talk all things Cardinals baseball, very happy to be able to welcome back on the program. You read him in the Post-Dispatch. You read him at STL Today. He is part of Cardinals coverage. He is Daniel Guerrero, one of the team's beat writers, or newspapers beat writers covering the team. Daniel, thanks so much for spending some time with us today. How are you?
Hey, Matt, doing good. Thank you guys for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a good 4 days for this team. Obviously, winning all 4 games, doing it in different kind of ways, having some games that there were parts of the team that were certainly flawed and not great, but still finding ways to win. It's a really interesting club right now.
Yeah, and you said it. They're finding ways to win. It's a whole, literally, team effort. I mean, when you think about what they did in 4 nights in Pittsburgh, or 3 nights, one day. But yeah, I mean, it's up and down the lineup. It's guys getting on, guys moving them over. I mean, you look at even just situationally, I mean, what they're doing. I mean, and it felt like the way the series started, right, where you look at Monday night and that perfect game bid the Pirates bullpen kind of combines for, breaks, and the Cardinals really run away with the rest of the series. So it definitely is a strong feeling, strong wave of momentum to come back home, to continue the 17-game stretch in 17 days. And, you have one of the biggest tests with the Dodgers coming to town. So obviously things are looking really good and kind of feeling good for where the Cardinals are at right now.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately because the team has had 2 times where they've lost more than 3 games in a row. And it was the first time against Boston and Cleveland. They were about to lose that 4th game in a row to Cleveland, and then they make a mistake and the game gets extended, and eventually they win in the 10th. But that was a very unexpected win, and that opened up a run of 5 straight. And then here they were coming into this Pittsburgh series, having lost 4 in a row. They're down. They'd been no-hit through, into the 7th, and they find a way to win that game in the 9th inning, and then they win 4 in a row. There's something about this club that they have these big moments coming out of, kind of losing streaks, and then that sort of propels them moving forward.
Yeah, and I think part of that's the nature of baseball. I mean, it's, as you know, it's 162 games. You're going to have your ebbs and flows, your highs and lows of the season. But I also think with this club specifically, it kind of goes back to what you saw during spring training, where it's a young club and everybody in that room knows it, and everybody in that room knows that they're all pulling on that same rope in the same direction, right? Where everybody's going to pick each other up. They're not going to get too down or, too low about things. And it really is, just everybody kind of going through this together, right? Where we talk about this rebuild phase and trying to, figure out what the future is going to look like. And I think part of it's also creating a culture with some of the guys that are going to emerge out of that core. And I think, these are some of the glimpses we might look back on and say, hey, these are some of the defining traits and characteristics of this team where, they were able to turn things around and, reverse skids, whatever that may be. But yeah, I think definitely it's kind of telling of sort of the vibe inside the clubhouse.
It's still within the first 6 or so weeks of the season. Guys are still being stretched out a little bit more. But one thing that the clear weakness of this team so far has been bullpen consistency, and sometimes it's just the lack of execution from relief pitchers. I think sometimes it's connected to overuse because of you're not getting a lot of length from your starters, but that's a true thing across Major League Baseball. How do you assess where this team is at from specifically from a relief pitching standpoint, and what can happen for it to be better?
Yeah, and like you said, seeing what the rotation is able to do if, you give them that extra inning, if they get into that 6th and, hopefully eventually into that 7th, then, that shortens the game for the rest of the guys. But when you look at the bullpen specifically, I think of that group, I think one of the big things is that you're kind of looking for some guys who came into the year really positioned for steady roles to kind of steady themselves this season. Matt Swanson's a guy who coming into his 2nd season in the majors off a strong rookie year. And, he's had some positive innings here and there, but overall, he's looking to kind of get right. And same thing with even like Ryan Stanek, right, where he's had a couple of shaky outings, but then you look at what he does today in that 1 inning. It's more of the Stanek you're hoping to see, and you even saw during spring training. But I think that's a big part of it. It's just looking for the guys in that group to kind of regain a form or find that form that you're really hoping for coming into the year.
I didn't know what the move was going to be when they brought Hunter Dobbins up today. It ends up being Ryan Fernandez, and Fernandez had really done a nice job, and he'll be back sooner than later. But were you at all they were somewhat handcuffed in what they could do, but were you at all surprised that that's the move they went with?
Yeah, like you said, you're handcuffed because you're not going to send down another starter, right? Because your 5 here going to be your 5 that opened the year here. I think it's one of those kind of tough calls because it's going to have to come from the move is going to have to come from the bullpen. And sure enough, there are guys who are your leverage guys, and there are guys who are kind of growing into that role. Like Gordon Graceffo is one of them who's kind of growing into that bridge role that we've seen. But I think when you look at Fernandez and just where he's at, like you said, we'll see him eventually back in the majors. But I think this kind of this stretch gave him a chance to kind of get some touches up here and kind of figure out some things, and now kind of carry and build off of that in Memphis, even though that could feel like a downer going back to the AAA. But you kind of leave on a strong note, with the taste of like, all right, this is what it needs to feel like. So, obviously a tough call, tough move to make, but I think Fernandez goes down in a good spot where he left off here.
We'll find out tomorrow, but I would suspect this is going to be a somewhat one-off for Dobbins, and then he'll get another opportunity when it presents itself, kind of the way they did with Michael McGreevy last year. Pitches into the 5th inning today, was really good through his first 3+, and then all of a sudden lost the strike zone. What did you think from our first look of Hunter Dobbins?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see a whole lot of him during spring training, so it was kind of no, I wouldn't say difficult to get a gauge on what we're going to expect, but it was a different look, right? Because he was pitching in a lot of simulated games in the backfields, and because as he was kind of progressing through his rehab with his knee. But yeah, I think, like you said, I mean, you saw glimpses of him being able to mix well, him being able to kind of change looks and kind of vary his arsenal in there, and I think that's what you're going to get with Hunter Dobbins when he's right. I mean, and I think like you said, in those 3+ innings that we saw where everything looked sharp, I mean, that's kind of what you'd expect and what you kind of hope from Dobbins.
A few more minutes with Daniel Guerrero, Post-Dispatch, STL Today, Cardinals beat writer. J.J. Weatherholt is continuing to open up eyes. 6 straight games now with an extra base hit. Hits the leadoff home run against Paul Skeens today. I think we all expected some level of immediate success from Weatherholt, but did you see the way this season has gone with him coming up with big hits, the plate discipline, drawing the walks, the high-level defense at second base, the way he's really put it all together in a short amount of time? Is this more than you expected from him this year?
You know, the one of the things like of the list that you mentioned, right, it's really the plate discipline that's really been a standout for me. And it's not that like it's never been a part of his game. I mean, you look at last year, and I think he had 1 fewer walked and good strikeouts between Memphis and Springfield last year, if I have that right. But yeah, so I mean, I think he already had that in him, right? Being able to take pitches, work at bats, work long counts, and take his walks when they're presented. But I think making that leap to the majors and seeing that translate immediately is a real positive sign because, I mean, the game can speed up on you, and we've seen that with other guys who have been called up and who have kind of grown with that process. I mean, you look at even Mason Wynn, his taste of the majors in 23 and what he did in the years after and what he's, what he's still growing into offensively. But you look at JJ and just immediately being able to show that capability, and then you tack on the clutch hits and the flashes of power, even just with the base running. When you look at the defense, too, he's been a strong defender at second base. So, yeah, I mean, it's an overall strong showing. And I think we're seeing a lot of the tools that we heard about immediately make the leap to the majors here in this first month.
Isn't it funny how, and I realize we're not even 6 weeks into the season, so all of this can turn on its head immediately, but we spent an offseason, Daniel, talking about, hey, the bullpen's going to be pretty good, and hey, we don't know if this team's going to hit any home runs, and basically it's been the exact opposite of that. The bullpen has been a liability at times where the team has really showed solid power.
Yeah, I mean, the power, that was, a question, right, especially when you make those deals, especially like trading Wilson Contreras, that's, a big power bat that you had in the middle of the lineup. And you begin to wonder, where's that coming from? I mean, obviously you had Alec Burleson, who, has shown some power. Nolan Gorman in the past, has shown some power. Jordan Walker, even at 23 years old, has still kind of had those hard hit tools, but we just haven't seen a lot of those guys like leap up in terms of like being the big bat in the lineup. To, when you look at that major like thumper, right? The guy was going to hit 30, 35 homers a year. But now you're seeing, I think, just a collective effort of these guys, and just, I don't think, guys are chasing homers. I think it's just one of those where, guys are, kind of feeling locked in and dialed in up at the plate and capitalizing on pitches at the plate. And I think there's also a sense of like momentum and kind of passing the baton that we hear, which, really isn't a stat for that. But like you see today with J.J. Weatherholt, sets the tone with the leadoff homer against Paul Skeens of all people. And then Jordan Walker, hit homers off of Skeens, 2 at-bats later or 3 at-bats later. So it's like, I think it's one of those things where we're seeing kind of guys feed off each other in that lineup as well.
Daniel Guerrero, he covers the Cardinals for the Post-Dispatch and for STL Today. Appreciate your time. We'll see you at the ballpark this weekend for hopefully what's a fun series against the Dodgers, and we'll chat with you again down the line.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Matt. Thanks for the invite.
Very good. Yep, you bet. That's Daniel Guerrero joining us. Read him, read Derek, read everybody in the Post-Dispatch, STL Today. They do such a good job covering the Cardinals. And it's not, I always say this, it's not like that everywhere. Not every Major League Baseball city has the resources dedicated to covering the Cardinals. And like Bernie mentioned earlier, locally, We've lost some of those resources. There's not as much coverage from other outlets as there's been previously, but the Post-Dispatch just keeps on chugging along, doing what they're doing in terms of covering the team, and it's great coverage. So encourage you to support their work, because if you don't support it, it's going to go away. I think we have learned that in recent years about the current state of journalism and the way resources are allocated and everything that goes along with that. So it's important that if you are able to support that coverage, which I know people enjoy, you should do that. And so we appreciate Daniel spending a few moments with us. Again, the Cardinals, they are going to get back at tomorrow. Pitching matchups this weekend. Matthew Liberatore is going to go tomorrow against Emmett Sheehan. Then Michael McGreevy against Roki Sasaki on Saturday. Dustin May against Justin Wroblewski. That is the matchup that's going to be coming up on Sunday. And, of course, all three games can be heard right here on KMOX. 7:15 first pitch tomorrow, 6:15 first pitch on Saturday, 1:15 first pitch on Sunday. When we return, we've got our weekly community interview. We talk with somebody who is making the community better through sports. We're going to talk with a former Gateway Grizzly, a Frontier League Hall of Famer who has dedicated his post-playing career to really doing some special things, working with kids and helping kids learn the game of baseball. So that's going to be coming up in just a moment. Right now, though, I want to tell you about my friends over at i3 Broadband. They are the absolute best when it comes to your internet provider, because they do the things that are the most important to you. You want fast internet, you get fast internet with i3. They always mirror their upload and download speeds. You may not understand totally what that means, but I can tell you, as somebody who did not have mirrored speed internet before I had i3, it makes a difference in your internet continuing to move along. You might think you have 1 gig internet, but if it doesn't have the 1 gig upload to go along with the 1 gig download, you don't actually have 1 gig internet. You always have that with i3. Again, 1 gig, 2 gig, 8 gigs, whatever you might need in your home. I've got a pretty standard house. I've got the 2 gig internet plan. I think that's more than I need. I think I'd be probably just fine if I had the 1 gig speed. I never feel bad about how much I'm spending on the bill each month. They are in a spot where, previous internet providers, I haven't liked how much I was spending. I'm fine with it. When that bill comes every month, I am okay with it. And then reliability. Basically, I can tell you, it essentially never goes down. It's the most reliable internet I've ever had. See if they're available in your neighborhood. Put your address in. Go to i3broadband.com/radio. i3broadband.com/radio. Put your address in, see if they're available, and then start the process of making the switch. i3 Broadband. Trust me, you are going to love your home internet when you have i3 Broadband.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA. So we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Right now, inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake up the markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs, so this is not the time to just hope it works out. That's why Steve Auld and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified, May 6th and May 7th. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines may impact your returns, and whether your retirement strategy is truly stress-tested for today's economy. This event is complimentary, and you must reserve your seat today. 636-230-8824. You can also get more details online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
Bringing a data center online takes more than equipment. It takes precision. Graybar helps customers predict, stage, schedule, deliver, and verify every step of the build with critical products that are available now. From networking and wireless to critical power and testing tools, our teams help you reduce downtime risk and keep projects on track. Speed, scale, ready now. Yep, Graybar does that.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Beat the spring cleaning rush at Zero Res. This week, buy one room of carpet, get one cleaned for free. Unlimited rooms and whole system air duct cleaning for just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com. That's ZeroResSTL.com.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
This is a Graybar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. We are taking you until 8 o'clock this evening. This is one of my favorite segments that we do every week on the program. We talk with somebody who makes an impact in the community through sports, and we just find out about their story, what they're doing, and what led them to really where they are at in terms of making that difference in the community. And we're about to welcome onto the show Mike Brayman. Now, for fans of the Gateway Grizzlies, you know that name. He had a prolific 5-year career with the Grizzlies from 2004 to 2008. During that time, he hit 82 home runs, and that was good enough for him to be inducted into the Frontier League Hall of Fame. More recently, he is impacting kids through baseball really in a couple different ways as he works with the Southern Illinois Blue Jays Youth Baseball Organization, where he serves as the head of baseball operations, and he's also the head instructor for the Sports Locker, which is an indoor baseball training facility in Smithton. So he's really making an impact on youngsters and baseball players throughout the Metro East. And with all of that, we do want to welcome Mike Brayman on to the show. Mike, thanks so much for taking some time with us today. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. This is going to be a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get done playing, you're trying to figure out the next thing, and you have spent much of your life helping other people play baseball, helping other people coach baseball. What led you to this spot where you have spent so much time giving into others?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the things that I wanted to do right away. Once I got done playing, I started doing lessons and stuff like that and helping kids. And it was new. It's a new world for me because I never really coached a whole lot. I was just playing. It was about me and my career and trying to move up the ladder. And then once my son was born, I realized my playing days were over. And I wanted to help kids in the area. And what I did first is it was the 16-year-old, 17-year-old kids at first. And then once I got into it a little bit more, I realized that I enjoyed the younger groups. They listen a whole lot better, and they soak up things a lot easier too. So once I got done playing, I knew I wanted to use my experiences through playing to help other people that may not have that same experience, may not have that knowledge, and help the people in our area. Like I said, the kids and the coaches as well, opening their eyes to some things that they possibly could not understood.
What's it like for you when you see those light bulb moments from those young kids where all of a sudden something just really clicks in with them?
It's the best thing. You get a text message from a kid or from a parent, and they send a video and they say, they're like, hey, look at Johnny, look what he just did, and it's one of the best things. It's better than anything. It's better than anything you get paid. It's better than anything else. It's when a kid finally gets confidence from something that you say. That's the best. That's the best reward. And some of the things that we're doing right now is we're starting to get some of our young guys. They're starting to get it to where they're starting to get recruited. They're 17 years old. So like we started a team that was 10 years old, which was my son's team. And now that group of 6 or 7 kids that I started with when they were 10, they're now 17 years old. And now they're starting to get recruited. And that's the ultimate reward, is seeing those kids that I've worked with for so long now get an opportunity to play at the next level.
Southern Illinois Blue Jays is the program that you oversee. It goes 7U to 16U. And we were talking a little bit before we started this interview. As you are, out and about watching things that are going on, I know you tend to head to some of the younger kids. That's something that you've got a lot of passion for.
Yes, I try to have the younger kids. Like I said, I obviously go to some of our 14 and 15U games. I try to make it to as many different games as I can. This time of year is tough because if I'm not watching my own son or my own daughter do their thing, I'm usually trying to work. But I try to kind of go towards the younger guys because they're so much fun. They're so much fun to watch, and they're so raw and they're so brand new to everything. And just the other day, like a 9U Lady Jays game, 9U girl softball game, I walked up and all the girls were super excited to see me because I've worked with them in the off season, in the wintertime, indoors. And I walked up and they were super excited to see me. Started doing those chants. My name was even in it. It was so much fun. And like I said, that's some of the partially reason why I do it, is that part to me is so much fun. And it's so rewarding to see when people appreciate that when you show up to their game. It's really awesome. And as I said, I don't have to do it, but I do enjoy doing it, and watching their reactions. And when they go out there and they play a good game, they'll come up. Some of the girls I'm doing lessons with, and they'll be like, hey, did you like that hit? That's the best part by far.
What has it been like for you guys as you've added to the girls side of the program as well?
It's different. It's a lot different. It's I can work with the youth and the high school baseball like the back. I can do that in my sleep. The girls thing's a lot differently. The cutoff dates are different. The ages are different. The tournaments are a whole lot different. I'm learning. Last year we had one team, and that was on purpose just to kind of really figure out what I need to do. This year we have 3, and I plan on having like 5 or 6 next year. The hardest part with the girls softball is finding coaches that want to do it, finding coaches that are qualified to do it. And that's where I may talk somebody into it and be like, hey, I'm going to help you through this. And I've done that before. Some people were kind of reluctant on doing it. I will go to their first 4 or 5 practices in the fall, and I basically make myself available. I'll say, hey, you need any help, let me know. And they do a great job. So it's very rewarding to see those coaches and those kids figure it out, for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about coaching coaches, because that's what you can impact kids yourself, but when you go impact coaches, it becomes exponential, the number of kids you're impacting because they're involved with so many. How important is that with what you're doing, is to just make sure that you're able to, with your baseball background, what you have done, you've got the ability to go help coaches do their jobs even better.
Yeah, and I try to not to step on toes. I try to let the coaches do their thing. I'm not a micromanager. I don't go to the games and I don't jump in the dugout and start coaching. I just what I'll do is I'll kind of sit there and watch what they're doing, and then maybe I'll talk to them behind closed doors or over the phone and be like, hey, let's try doing this. Let's try to see if we can get through like this. I really try to stay out of the way, because coaching youth is such a thankless job. It's so much time, so much effort. As a parent coach, you very rarely get paid, if anything. And I just try to help them not only through the baseball part of it, but I went all the way up through from 10 to 17. And there were times where, I mean, even me with my experience, I was like, gosh, these I don't know I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And I just tell them, I was like, you're never going to make everybody happy. It's a lot of the mental thing. It's not as much of like, hey, maybe you should have bunted here, and maybe you should have did a hit and run here. It's a lot of, hey, try this, try to move this guy here, and try to make, because it's impossible to make everybody happy, but try to make everybody a one solid core. That way, everything runs smoothly.
Is it important to you? A lot of these kids that are playing, they're going to get done with your program, and that's going to be it. They're not going to really play competitively after that. But during those years and during that time, how important is it that you help these kids maybe just develop a love for the game of baseball, where for the rest of their lives, they are going to be fans of the game, and it might trace back to their time in your program?
That's the biggest thing, is you never want to have a kid not enjoy their time in our organization. I try to make it as fun as I can. I try to make it as now I try to get as much knowledge to them as I can. I want a kid to come to our organization and love the game more than they did when they came in. If that's just a fist bump here and a high five there, then that's worth it. We have kids coming into our facility all the time, and I'll walk in and they'll see me and I'll give them a fist bump. How was the game? And they'll light up and they'll smile, and they're having fun with that. And especially when they're having success. The hardest part is when a kid is struggling, they come in, you can tell they're down, and you just got to let them understand that, like, it's process and all that stuff. So it's one of those things where you try to help each kid as much as possible. There's almost 200 kids in our organization, so I'm a little more individual with some than others. But I try to make myself available to everybody as possible as I can. That way, everybody enjoys their time. I said, you're not going to make everybody happy. I tried that. I'm a people pleaser. The first year I was like, oh my gosh, I can't make everybody happy. Now it's like, I'm going to do my best. I know it's not going to happen, but I'm going to do my best to make sure all these kids are having a good time.
You guys do camps as well around Christmas time. You do some things. How important are those, just to be able to get kids that extra experience with the game?
Yeah, we do what's called a holiday heat up. We were going to call it a warm up, but it was kind of too close to the Cardinals thing, so we call it a holiday heat up. It's right there in the middle of New Year's and Christmas, and we have all the teams come in. We have teams come in. I have a good good contact folder of coaches and players that I might have played with or against, and we bring in guys like there's Zach Broviak, who played AAA ball with the Boston Red Sox. We have Scott Patterson, who played in the big leagues with New York Yankees. And we have all these guys come in for these camps, and these kids just eat it up. And it's almost like a jump start, because we don't really start doing anything indoor until like January 1st. But this happens this is our kickoff. This is where we get everybody in here. We get these minor league and major league guys and myself, and I even bring in my son to work with some of the youth ages, and it just gets them fired up. Like, they're not thinking about baseball. There's snow outside. It's nasty. And you can just tell once they get done with that couple of day camp, they're like, all right, let's go. And that's the biggest thing. It's kind of a jump start into the winter season.
The actual indoor facility is an important part of this as well, because we see indoor facilities always picking up, but they're not just throughout the St. Louis area, like throughout the country, they're like deserts where these facilities don't exist. And I know this is something that kids in your area in the Metro East are able to really take advantage of, and it's something that's very good for them.
Yeah, we tried. It goes hand in hand. The teams and the facility go hand in hand. If one fails, the other one fails. Just the way it is. If we don't have the teams, we don't have the facility. We don't have the facility, we don't start. I was trying to start this for years, and my third year of trying to find a building was the first year that we were able to expand. But yeah, the building is a gigantic thing, because we have 7 cages. We're just a little bit below. If you could have a full infield in there, but it's kind of tight. But that is a big selling point, bringing kids in and showing them, like, hey, you can get to train in these cages. If you come in at the right time, we can do a full infield practice. Our 8U teams were doing scrimmage games inside. Obviously, the ceiling's only 20 foot high, but they're doing scrimmage games. So we have a little bit of a head start there, where a lot of teams aren't able to do that. So we try to give them as much opportunity to get an advantage as we can. But at the same time, they get to walk in this building and they get to say, this is where we get to practice. This is our home. And there's a lot of kids 9, 10, 11 years old that love walking in that place. They walk in a couple times a week. They are able to come in and use our cages anytime they want. But yeah, we're just trying to offer them something that it's not it's kind of rare around here, a building like that. We're trying to offer something to kids that they might have to go over to St. Louis and be a part of. So yeah, that's a big part of our success and our growth as well.
Do you ever reflect on kind of your baseball journey, because you played with the Gateway Grizzlies, you're a Gateway Grizzly Hall of Famer, and now you are impacting kids who play baseball on an everyday basis? It's a pretty cool St. Louis baseball journey that you have been on.
Yes, being from Northern Ohio, I'm from up by Cleveland, Ohio, and I know I didn't have anything like this anywhere around where I was from. They do now, obviously, but yeah, I came up here. I met my son and my daughter's mother up here, and I just never left. I never had a chance to leave. My family still lives in Northern Ohio, and home is always going to be home. But I love what I've done here. I've set kind of a home up here where I'm able to do a lot of things for a lot of people, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. There's some days where I'll beat my head against the wall, like, why have I done this? Why did I do this to myself? But for the most part, I get to go every day, and I get to put a smile on my face, and I get to go coach, and I get to help baseball every day. So there's nothing better than waking up and going, I get to do this today. Sweet, I get to go to work. You know what I'm saying? It's not many people get to do that.
There might be maybe some parents in the Metro East listening to this that wanted to get their kids involved in baseball, didn't know what the steps are to do that. Like for your program, give a pitch, a contact, all that on what people can know about the Southern Illinois Blue Jays program in your facility.
We do a good job of putting out there. We have our own Facebook. It's at Southern Illinois Blue Jays, at our Facebook. We do have Instagram. It's SI Blue Jays. It's at SI Blue Jays. Super easy. You can usually message me. Email is easy. SI_Blue Jays_baseball@yahoo.com. There's a lot of different ways to get a hold of me if you have questions. Right now is kind of a downtime because everybody's playing. There's no tryouts going on. But usually around July, that's a good time to get a hold of us to find out what we're looking for, what certain teams are trying to figure out what they want to do. And like I said, there's some teams that might need 3 or 4 kids. There might be some teams that need none. So I try to make it and I put a lot of posts on Facebook, and I put a lot of posts on Instagram as well, trying to let everybody know what we're looking for, what we need, and what we're trying to do as far as the organization. And as far as the building, we're growing. And last year we pretty much were full we were as full as we could possibly be. There's definitely some organizational things that I could probably do to make it a little bit easier. But like I said, it's easy because I run the Blue Jays and I run the building, and I'm able to work with myself together to figure out how it all works. So yeah, kids get to come in, they get to use the machines, they get to come in and use the cages, they can throw off the mounds, they get to use the baseballs. They can basically, with whatever I can control, I will help them one way or another to have fun with the game and learn and get knowledge of the game.
Well, Mike, really great to get to know you a little bit. Thank you for everything that you do working with kids, and really enjoyed this conversation.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Yes, that was a lot of fun.
That is Mike Brayman, a Frontier League Hall of Famer who is now making the world better by instructing kids and working with kids and helping kids in baseball. Again, the two things he's really involved with are the Southern Illinois Blue Jays Youth Baseball Organization, and then also the Sports Locker Indoor Facility there in the Metro East. We are building community with Busey Bank beyond the game, and we appreciate Mike taking a little bit of time with us today. We'll take one more break. We'll come back, and we will wrap up this edition of the program. You're locked into a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Save big money on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Menards has a huge selection of bagged concrete and mortar mixes. Great for any project. Whether you're pouring a walkway, a concrete slab, or setting a post. View our entire selection of concrete mixes and supplies in store and on Menards.com. Plus, check out the weekly flyer for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Here in St. Louis, we take pride in supporting our health and our community. That's why more and more families are turning to Neovitin multivitamins, created by a local physician and made right here in the U.S. using the highest quality domestic and international ingredients. With formulas for men, women, and adults 50 plus, Neovitin helps keep St. Louis families energized, supported, and ready for life. Find Neovitin at your local Deerbergs, Schnucks, and online at neovitin.com. Neovitin, trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings, up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
The summer heat and humidity will be here soon. Is your air conditioner ready? This is Corey with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. If your cooling system hasn't been checked to be ready for the warm weather, call Air Comfort Service. AC checks keep your equipment operating at maximum efficiency, prevent repairs, and extend the life of your equipment. For every AC clean and check booked in April, we'll donate a bag of pet food to Open Door Animal Sanctuary in House Springs. Stay in your comfort zone with a cooling system check from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Looking to build your dream home? Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. And for a limited time this April, we're offering something we rarely do. Exclusive incentives designed to help you get more from your new home. From a free finished recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades to flexible perks like design credits or closing cost savings, there's an opportunity waiting for you. But these offers are available in select communities and only for a short time. Visit LombardoHomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at LedermanLaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Each year in St. Louis, 10 women are recognized for volunteer leadership that changes lives. They support families, strengthen communities, and create opportunities where they're needed most. Join us Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton for the 2026 Women of Achievement Awards Luncheon. Celebrate their impact and be part of a tradition more than 70 years strong. Reservations available at WOASTL.org. For more information, go to KingdomOX.com/events.
1 in 4 people surveyed by Bankrate.com say they're literally losing sleep because of worries that they may have not saved enough to retire. If you're ready to get serious about planning for your financial future, you could start by listening to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All of the All Financial Group.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different. If you want assistance, we can also help you at that point.
Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
We are starting to wrap things up on this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Cardinals back at tomorrow night. They are going to open up a series at home against the Dodgers. This is going to be an interesting homestand. First the Dodgers, then the Brewers. Going to be fun to see what goes down over the next week or so after the Cardinals are able to sweep through the Pittsburgh Pirates on the road. What a great series for them. One of the only bummers of having lots of Cardinals baseball is we don't have as many of these shows, so I'm not able to talk to you about all the things I want to talk about. We don't have a ton of time left here, and we'll find ways to bring this back up at some point in the future. There's going to be other developments in this story that will allow us to talk about it again in the future. But we did learn yesterday that the NCAA initiating the final steps to be able to expand the NCAA men's and NCAA women's basketball tournaments. They will go to 76 teams. Essentially, you'll still have the basic 64-team bracket, but what we have right now as the first four, that is going to be expanded where there are going to be more teams playing in that event as the 8 teams playing 4 games in Dayton, Ohio would expand to 12 games being played by 24 teams at 2 different sites. One of those would be expected to be Dayton, Ohio. So you're kind of expanding the first 4 round, if that makes sense. A lot of people are pushing back on this, and I understand why. I think some people view this as an attack on the tournament. The bracket is such a big deal. We really don't include the first 4 when we're doing the brackets now. Now, there's a lot more teams that are going to be involved at this point, so I don't know how much of that is going to be that we're going to just wait to, do until the 64-team bracket gets in to, fill out our bracket, so to speak, or if we are going to be doing it where the entire thing is out there. I mean, that's not the biggest deal here. Here's what I thought was interesting. And I'm kind of mixed on this, to be honest with you. I don't have a really strong opinion. I love the NCAA tournament and the idea of more games being played in that environment, I think is awesome. At the same time, I don't want to have this event be watered down, and I think some people are certainly worried about that. I also don't want it to be just a way to get more power conference teams in. I'm hopeful, and I'll probably be wrong on this. I'm not even saying it's going to be this way, but it's probably not. I don't want it to be something where it's just power conference teams getting in and other programs don't get an added opportunity because of it. And it's the way college athletics is right now. It is probably going to end up being that way. But I found it interesting that a lot of the commenters on college basketball were saying how terrible of an idea this is and how nobody was for this. And then I saw from a lot of people who were for it. Locally, SLU athletic director Chris May and basketball coach Josh Schertz, they're for it. I don't, there seems to be, it seems like there's a group of people that are like trying to lift up the NCAA tournament as some sort of beacon of morality or something. I don't know. And they, you mess with it and you are messing with all that is right in the world. And, money runs all, and this is a money decision. I get that. I'm not trying to run away from that. But just this idea, and you saw it over and over and over from a lot of like the college basketball journalistic community, people who, stakeholders in the game on that side of it, that nobody wants this. Nobody wants this. Yeah, people want it. And I think the power conferences want it because there's going to be more opportunity for that. I think some of the better mid-major conferences, the talk from Chris May and Josh Schertz was, hey, you know what? Maybe the Atlantic 10 turns into a 3-bid league. I know the folks in the Mountain West Conference, and I spent a number of years working in the Mountain West, and that's a really, really good mid-major conference for college basketball. Like a New Mexico this year probably would have gotten into the NCAA tournament in this scenario. They did not get in before they went on an NIT run. And, I mean, there's some really good programs in the Mountain West. So I think there's more people who want this than some of the people out there are saying. I think it's going to work out, and it's a chance to, that first couple days of the NCAA tournament is so awesome, And now it's going to be the first 4 days. It's going to be a little bit tougher to maybe take off work to pay attention to those games. But a couple more days of full days worth of basketball. I'm saying days over and over and over. But a couple more of those, Tuesday and Wednesday leading into the conventional start. I'd love that. I would. They're saying that if Dayton's going to stay as one of the sites, they would like the other site to be a little bit more towards the west. I don't think you want to go too far west, because if you look historically at teams participating in the NCAA tournament, there's really a small percentage in the western part of the country. There's talk, could St. Louis be in the running for being a host for that, for what is currently the first four, but is now expanded? And what exactly would that look like? What would they need? The Enterprise Center? Would Chaffetz be good enough for that? I think it was in the Post-Dispatch story that was brought up that St. Louis is always in the cycle for the NCAA wrestling tournament, and St. Louis really, really supports that event. That's at the Enterprise Center, so maybe that precludes St. Louis from being a full-time site for it. But I do think it'd be cool to see St. Louis get more NCAA tournament games as a result of basically another site with all of this. So I generally like this. I don't love it, but I generally like it. And I'm curious what the impact of it will be. Does the NIT now go away? There's been talk about that. Do some of these other secondary events that have really been struggling to draw teams, do those go away? There is going to be a trickle-down effect for sure of this decision being made, but it sounds like in all likelihood this is going to go in effect for next season, for next year's NCAA tournament. That is it for this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Thanks so much for being tuned in, and we'll talk to you again coming up tomorrow for Cardinals baseball and Redbird Rush Hour and everything that we normally do on a Friday, so we'll do that tomorrow. I'll be with you for Gas House Gang as well tomorrow, 12 to 12:30. We'll talk to you then right here on KMOX.